to the game, but as I said, we'll see how it unfolds.
And particularly Josh Rochelli, like he's had to go on 2 radio stations.
Yeah.
So he had one and then he went, well, what do you reckon? He goes, well, I did say this. So he's gone again. So as you say, it is all talk. Like who knows? I was never that type of player. So some are a little bit more open to doing it. Whether it makes a big deal or not, I'm really unsure.
Well, I tell you what Josh Rochelli needs to do is not duck his head tonight. Because we've seen him do that a few times throughout the course of season 2024, and if he does that, I reckon the Port Adelaide supporters will absolutely rip into him.
We have 45,000 will let him know all about it.
The Power making their way out onto the Adelaide Oval, as you would have heard, a very predominant crowd in favour of them. A home showdown. They're in the Prison Bar Strip, all on the line tonight. They've won 6 of their last 7 and a road trip with Fremantle to come. So a victory, considering Brisbane has just stumbled. And Geelong are playing tonight, would pretty much lock them in the top 2 if they can get this done. So a massive night for them.
We might have a start delay by the smoke from the fireworks. There's not a breeze to be had, and so it is just lingering as Port Adelaide warms up at the River Torrens end of the ground.
Bit of wet weather across the day as well. We'll check in with Josh Money in a moment's time.
Planes in Sydney wouldn't take off in that sort of stuff.
The trash talk, Jamo, as we touched on, a bit of it historically, the side that's generally thrown a bit of barbs has never really been able to turn up on field, and maybe that's why Matthew Nicks was a little bit fearsome of what Josh Rochelli had done during the week. He didn't look overly stoked with how it had played out, and it almost sets you up for failure in a sense. He doesn't mind playing the pantomime villain, Josh Rochelli, but as Franco just mentioned, if he gets stuck in a sticky situation or he gives up a loose ball early, the fans are not going to let him forgive it.
Well, I don't know if I've ever heard a coach come out and say, we are absolute dog-on favourites to win this game. We should belt them. All coaches want to have that sort of in reserve and want to have that sort of underdog tone. And it's certainly, again, I guess the first time, like, there was Ollie Wines, there was Ryan Burton. They came out and they were pretty strong with their words, and that's okay. That's how they feel. And I think we're all pretty accustomed to the fact that there's a healthy respect. And I think you can respectfully not like them, and I think that both clubs sort of have that view, and certainly supporters don't hold back. So I'm not surprised why everyone is surprised that actually one of the players have said it.
Well, I reckon Port Adelaide, it's almost been strategic in the banter. It's almost like it's been seeded amongst the playing group in the press conference that they've done leading up to the games. This one, clearly Rochelli's gone a bit rogue, and as I said, Aaron, I think Matthew Nicks would be sitting back going, what are you doing, mate? Why would you go down the path? Even though it's a bit of tongue-in-cheek, and well, I mean, we've set it up here about Collingwood supporters and all the rest of it, but it's just unnecessary to draw that attention and spotlight on you individually leading into a big game like this.
And it's always, I've had this healthy respect for Port Adelaide. There's a lot of things I think I like what they do, and there's some parts where I go, that's not my club, so you choose to do that. But you talk about Scotty Cummings. The thing that I like about Port Adelaide, and it's a little bit unique, he was at the club for 2 minutes and thought he was black and white through and through. And, he had this big mouth, and this is what they do, So I love the attribute or that component of Port Adelaide. When you come to Port Adelaide, you walk taller and you play taller and you play better. And you've certainly got to back it up, but it's just something that's almost ingrained. I don't know if that goes back to Jack Cale or goes back even prior to that, like with Foss Williams. So it's just the way that you come to Port Adelaide and you play this way. So
an extra bit of motivation for the Power tonight with so much on the line already. All the off-field stuff, Jamo and Josh, what about it on-field? We've got a couple of big changes. So the Crows without Taylor Walker tonight. Lockie Gallant comes in, kicked 8 in the SANFL, but we haven't seen a lot of him, and it might be his last chance to really showcase what he can do tonight. But for Port Adelaide to lose Todd Marshall on top of Mitch Georgiadis and now have this makeshift forward line of a 33-year-old Charlie Dixon, Asava Rathanulao, who's looked good up there, but goalless last week and very inaccurate the week prior, and Ryan Burton as, I guess, a swingman rather than an Ollie Lord. What do you think is going to decide, I guess, those two pillars tonight?
Well, I think if you looked at the contrasting styles of play, so the scoring sources are kick-ins, turnovers and stoppage clearance. And if you look over the last 5 weeks, Crows are ranked first in stoppage scores and they're third at centre bounce scores. So they rely heavily on stoppages and the clearance to create their scoring opportunities. Port, conversely, their scores from turnovers, they're ranked second over the last 5 weeks. So it's almost a contrasting style. If Port Adelaide can minimise the damage from stoppage, and I know it's not the be-all and end-all, and the Crows can limit their ability, or Port's ability, to move the ball, It's going to be a really intriguing game. You talk about those inclusions for Port Adelaide. We're talking about it off air, Jamo, with Ryan Burton coming into the side. There's talk that he's going to play forward. Normally plays down back, has played forward over the course of his journey in the AFL. But I must admit, I do worry Port Adelaide where their scoring comes from ahead of the ball.
Yeah, and I have no doubt their midfield is class. So I'm happy to wear that, but when they get it forward, I think that's almost been their Achilles heel. They get enough inside 50s, they haven't been able to score. They kick a lot of points as opposed to goals, and I think they've kicked more points than goals like 12 times this year. So it's actually really let them down. I think from an Adelaide perspective, I think Lachie Gallant, albeit he's not a Taylor Walker, but he provides that third option. So he's still going to go through a Fogarty, and Lachie Gallant is a really mobile big man too. So I think it's going to be difficult for the backs of Port to be able to maintain them. We saw Isaac Rankin's game last week. He just lights it up. Butters is almost the equivalent too. So, but up forward is probably the area I think that Adelaide's defence might be better than what Port Adelaide's makeshift forward line at the moment, and I think that's going to be the downfall.
And we called the Adelaide Western Bulldogs game last week. Darcy Fogarty is in white-hot form at the moment. So he kicked 5 last week. Talk about Taylor Walker. It's almost forget about Taylor last week. Darcy Fogarty was the man, and he's really dangerous ahead of the ball. Thilthorpe didn't hit the scoreboard, hasn't hit the scoreboard a lot like he potentially will again throughout his career, but his ability to create a contest and bring the ball to ground is as good as there is in the AFL.
And I think if Ryan Burton plays that high half forward, I reckon that'll play into the hands of Adelaide. So you'll actually, he's not quick. His defensive work is probably not as good as what it could be. We know in his day he was a great rebounding half-back who he could run and carry, and his kick was pretty deadly, but we haven't seen a whole lot of that. And last week we saw Jason Horne-Francis go forward. Now, if he goes forward, I think that's a massive tick. Adelaide will go, yep, let's just play him forward, and they'll take that quality out of the midfield and the rotation too. So I'm sure Ken Hinkley's got a plan as to how he's going to do it, but I think that will be the concern as to where we're going to get the benefit from him. He like one out leading full forward, I think he can certainly be really damaging, but as we know, he's just starting to build his game clearly in the midfield and his quality as he's spent, a couple of years now at Port Adelaide.
Well, the last showdown back in round 8, the Crows won by 30. Port were significantly better around the middle. They won clearance by 10, inside 50s the same, but kicked 5 goals, 18 for the night. And that's essentially what cost them in the end, was inaccuracy. And it has, for a large portion of this year, I think 12 of their games, they've had more behinds than goals, Josh.
Was that the Connor Rosie saga as well with his hamstring? That he shouldn't have played, did play. So,
and I heard him this week actually came out. He wanted to press his body, and he goes, what I've learnt is I can't push through something that I know I shouldn't have. So it's a real learning from a young captain as well.
Absolutely.
And Daniel Curtin, where does he go? Like he's warmed up here for Adelaide in the middle. He came on against the Western Bulldogs. He played in the middle. He went forward. He kicked a couple of goals late too, so he's got some height. So there's some real flexibility in terms of his big body, and it looks like they're going to persevere with him in the middle. Yeah,
nice to see him get another full game for sure. The thoughts of Rod Jamieson, Josh Franco, your experts tonight for Showdown 56 Pack House here at the Adelaide Oval under the Saturday night lights on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross calling the action for you as well. If you want to get in touch, the text line 0437 774 774. There are no late changes. Quinton Narkle is the sub for Port Adelaide, so that'll be the 5th consecutive game he's been the sub for the Power, and Zach Taylor will don the vest for the Crows, so his 4th of the year. So much on the line for this game. So as we mentioned earlier, Brisbane losing to Collingwood by a point certainly leaves the door ajar for Port Adelaide to cement their credentials in the top 4. Earlier today, the Giants knocking off Fremantle by 9 as well, so their 7th consecutive win for GWS, and Melbourne knocked off Gold Coast in essentially a dead rubber by 54 points, but certainly not the result the Suns were after as they headed towards the conclusion of their season. We've got it laid out there early as well, Jamo. We've got a Showdown medal voter in the box. It is our own Josh Franco tonight, so don't press him too much about his Footballer of the Year votes until we get through the post-game. But how do you see it playing out tonight, Jamo?
Well, again, I think, I guess historically, Port Adelaide a little slow to start. They played Melbourne last week. They got 2 goals in the first quarter late in that first quarter. Melbourne jumped them again, and then they were able to maintain and get back. It wasn't a high-scoring game, but they were able to do. So, look, Port Adelaide are on the ladder because they can play some seriously good football. We said at the start of the year, my concern is they could be 23 and zip, get to the finals. It's a different game. That's where they haven't been able to play. The last 3 against Adelaide, they somehow haven't been able to pull it together when at times they have been favourite, and Adelaide have really taken it to them. So I think there might be a little bit of that again tonight. It is a Port Adelaide home game. So no doubt they'll be up and about, but we've touched on some of the reasons why I don't think Port Adelaide will win when I initially did, but it's just such a difficult game to normally pick.
Premiership Crow and expert tipster Rod Jamieson in the box alongside.
I don't think I gave you anything.
Showdown medalist Josh Franco, you didn't. I wanted a tip, but we'll get through it.
Could I just go around in circles? I think I did.
Four-time showdown medalist Josh Franco alongside Rod Jamieson. The fifth member of our commentary team tonight is downstairs amongst the packed house of Port fans. Josh Money's joining us tonight. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you, Aaron. Good to be here. Cracking atmosphere down here. Connor Rosie has just won the toss for Port Adelaide, who will kick to the southern end of the ground in this first quarter. The wet weather today certainly hasn't kept the fans away. A packed house, as expected, for Showdown 56. Most of them getting ready to bite back at one. Josh, Rochelle. The rain has stopped for now, but there's a definite shine across the ground, so showdowns are always very contested. This one will be no different. As Jamo said in the warm-up, prize pick Dan Curtin was with the midfielders. He'll start on the Crows bench alongside Lockie Murphy, Luke Nankervis and that man Rochelle. On the power bench, it's Jason Horn-Francis, Frankie and Logan Evans and Jackson Mead. Quinton Narkle and Zach Taylor are the subs for both sides.
How about the roar as well? Scars in the air. Port Adelaide faithful ready to roll. Showdown 56 live on ABC Sport. Neil Cross to get us underway.
Gemmo Burton forward as well, as we predicted pre-game.
Two things you rarely see at the Adelaide Oval. Adelaide in white shorts and the prison bars of Port Adelaide on for a show tonight.
Josh Rochelle on the bench.
Ball in the air. No clean possession from anybody yet. Finally, it's just kicked out in the direction of Butters, who picks it up for Port. Inside 50, and low and hard. Off hands. Again, no clean possession. Murray finally took possession, and Radulawaya buried him in the turf. Ball up. Inside 50 for the Power.
Butters and Rankin running together.
Electric start. Matt Stevic tosses it into the air. O'Brien down, hacked out of there by Hinge. Rolling ball up towards the broadcast wing. Head over, it was Fogarty, left it behind. Boat gathers, picks it up, handed it off to Farrell. Quick kick inside 50. Dixon's his target. He's caught behind Keane. And off hands, it's knocked over the boundary line. 10 out, right forward pocket.
Interesting looking at Port Adelaide set up here behind the footy. You've got Aliir, who's almost playing a wicket-keeper role. Remember last showdown, Adelaide were able to get Port Adelaide on the transition from their D50 into their 450 with speed on the ball. Looks like they've learnt from their mistakes last time they played.
Dixon throwing his weight around. Now he's off the ruck contest, picked the ball up, handballed it straight to Bond for Adelaide. He gave it to Berry, lost it. Rosie pounced on it across the goal face, almost out of bounds, and Laird decided, yep, I'll just escort it over and we'll start again. Left back or right back pocket for Adelaide.
Mark Keane, Dixon giving it to him, but Nick Murray doesn't take a backward step, just straight up and at him.
No score so far, opening stages, Showdown 56, tossed in, sweet overhead, tap to Butters, quick kick towards goal, pushed as he got it, wobbler up towards the pocket, and Burn-Jones back at the flight, reels it in under pressure. It'll be the tightest of angles, right up against the left-hand behind post.
Well, I was going to say, Butters, 2 disposals, 2 kicks, 2 clearances. Got the first centre bounce clearance for Port Adelaide on that occasion, just the quick hack kick forward. And Lux of Fortune landed in Burn-Jones' arms.
Burn-Jones opens the angle and smashes it into the left-hand goalpost. Minor score to kickstart things here at the Adelaide Oval. It's Port by a point, 2 minutes in. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, you can feel the atmosphere, can't you? It's electric at the moment.
They're up and about.
Yeah.
Murray receives the kick in, down the line he goes. Ball slips to the back, Sweet over it. Tried to knock it out. Butters came through nicely. Gave the hand pass back, and Bergman clears down the line. And there was a push there by Burton, who got his man Worrell under the ball. Free kick to the Adelaide player.
I think Kenny Cleary did disappointed with that. Unnecessary. The ball was never going to be marked by Gallant. Worrell, I beg your pardon.
Good matchup, actually.
Yeah.
Down the line he goes. And that was a certain mark by Dawson near the interchange gates, about 5 metres in.
The Crow skipper looking for some options. Port have flooded back. Power by a point as Dawson leans back on the kick. Deep into the 50, too long for Thilthorpe. Spilled to the back, and Gallant can't reel it in under pressure. Off hands over the boundary line. Over at Docklands, the Cats have hit the front first. Shannon Neal, their opening goal scorer there over the Saints.
Aliir, he's Riley Thilthorpe, his immediate opponent. He's taking him right back out of the square, so that's the position that I think Aliir wouldn't want to be in.
Toss back in, Sweet and O'Brien entangled. Tap went the way of Butters, who bursts out of the stoppage. Arching the back across half-back, his kick a little hot for Burgoyne. Worked well to Rioli. Defensive edge of the square, spins around and back to Butters. Marks uncontested and again breaks away, putting on the Jets. He spears it to half-forward, sliding in. His partner in crime, Rosie, who stood off his mark. Tackled by Crouch, dropped it holding the ball. It's so loud here.
That's stiff.
He had no idea what was going on. And a free kick against the power skipper.
Did he actually take the mark, or did he say, yeah?
It hit the ground.
Yep.
I reckon he said it hit the ground. Rosie didn't think it did, but didn't hear the call to play on.
Umpire called half volley. Now it Crows down to half forward. Saligo's got the ball away from Aaliyah. It's a mark and he drops it in short and wide. Just on the boundary line was Scholl. He'll send it inside 50. Phil Thorpe was kept out of it by Zerk Thatcher, but it comes off hands and Keys has a snap at goal. Across the front of the goals and through for the minus score. Ray Chamberlain not calling that a mark for Port Adelaide. He's earned the ire of the fans already.
In his last year, giving it away.
Power Faith will be happy he's not coming back, I think, if that's the case.
Do you reckon he'd look at the scoreboard and go, oh, I got that wrong?
I think he might.
You reckon?
Scores level as Farrell goes along up the outer side. Dixon forced to spoil with a fist. Front and square was Berry. Launched himself into the drop and misread the timing. Spills down to Wines. Quick kick forward. Bounces off the shins of Ratanolea in pursuit of Keane. Comes back towards Murray. Long ball for the Crows up to half forward, but coming across is Zerk Thatcher. Will cut it off in front of the Wanganeen stand. Treacherous kick as he dinks it over the top. Was looking for Wines. It's cut off by Berry. Hospital handball though. Put his teammate under pressure. Farrell buffets it out. Head over the footy. Crouch has to find a target. Plenty to choose from. They're queuing up. And he finds Isaac Rankin 25 out. 45-degree angle to the left. He plays on quickly. Snapping around the body for the opener in showdown 56. Isaac Rankin's on the board. And the Crows are up by a goal. 1-1-7 to 1 behind. 5 played opening terms. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Your experts, Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson and 4-time showdown medalist Josh Franco.
Well, we know Port Adelaide, they do like to come back through the corridor, and you can't switch off defensively because they always give you the opportunity to turn the footy over, particularly in an area of the ground where you can rebound quickly, as Adelaide did on that occasion. And just a superb kick inside forward 50 from Matty Crouch. Just good composure with the footy. You know, it's hot, it's electric, the atmosphere at the moment, and what a finish by the superstar Rankin.
Well, both defences holding up really well in the early stages, but it's the turnover from both sides. It's allowing them to go into attack. Josh on the boundary.
Josh Rochelle into the game, greeted with a nice big boo, as you'd imagine.
Back in the middle, Sweet with a touchdown. O'Brien comes through, is over the ball, it's on the ground. Drew went through, missed it. Picked up by Curtin down to half forward immediately with his kick out wide. Zerk Thatcher got first to the ball. Just lost his feet, gave it to Burgoyne and then back to Bergman, and he was tackled and dropped it. Phil Thorpe got him, a big reach from the big man. Looks inside 50, drops it in. Nicely done, finds Scholl.
Crossy, you talk about showdowns and pressure. Already Adelaide, their tackling has been unbelievable. Currently it's 5-2, a magnificent tackle there on Bergman to force the holding the ball and the turnover, and their pressure that they're able to apply to Port Adelaide when they get possession of the ball has been outstanding in this early part of the first quarter.
Scholl in the scoreboard pocket, comes in, kicks from 45 metres. He's coming close, but right on the line. Numbers there, favour Port Adelaide. And
no, he's not, is he? He's
the
not sure.
goal umpire wants a review. It looked like Aaliyah at least had got hands to the ball, but we'll just wait. 7 minutes down in the showdown, 56. And Aaliyah clearly got the ball and punched it down away from Phil Thorpe, so that'll be a minus score. Adelaide will move along to 1-2-8. And just the one behind from Port Adelaide, and we'll get a kick in, Aaron.
I suppose better to be safe than sorry, isn't it?
Yeah.
For the sake of 30 seconds, but that was clearly a point.
The last thing you want in a game as big as this is to make an error on the goal line.
Fair call.
It was online too.
Crows by 7, Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Over at Docklands, the Cats by 6 over the Saints. Quick entry as Houston dabs it to Rosie. Left back pocket. Booming kick up the spine towards the logo outer side. Sweet knocked it down. Throw a blanket over them at the drop. Scholl wrapped up in a tackle will get a ball up.
Inside 50's already 5-2 Adelaide's way.
Adelaide going at 69%. Kicking efficiency to 53, Port Adelaide.
Sweet searching for Horn Francis. Look to barge through. Dawson is wrapped up. Just got a handball. I reckon it was a knuckle knocking the footy out. Drew gathered. He's under pressure. Nearly coughed it up. Burn Jones set upon by a couple and he's brought to ground in the centre square. We'll get a ball up. Crows by 7.
Get a sense Adelaide are on top early with that defensive work.
Really sharp.
Sweet flicks it down. Horn Francis tries to buffet his way through. Can't do so. In tight, Berry picks it up. Thought he might have been taken high. He did, but no doing, says the umpire. Drew rewarded with a ball up for Port Adelaide.
With any showdown as well, you're going to get momentum swings. At the moment, it's in Adelaide's favour. Port Adelaide will get their opportunity. They've just got to hang tough here.
Crowd unhappy. Horn Francis got a foot to the ball eventually. They thought he was held back in the scrimmage. Now at half forward, Port Adelaide. Big tackle by Drew on Berry again. Forces another ball up. Close, tight, tough. Just what we expect. 9 minutes down. 7 the margin in favour of Adelaide.
Sweet down the throat of Drew. He fumbled. Bit wet earlier. Maybe slipped out. Murphy jams it forward looking for Thilthorpe. Lear got a fist in from behind. Towed out of there by Rosie as it trickles its way to the broadcast wing. Clean gather by Frankie Evans. Snapping it towards the 50. It's bouncing past Ratanolea. Now Curvis was there to gather and he's wrapped up by the big Fijian. Footy hit the deck. Whistle stays away. And Burn Jones holds things up 30 out right forward pocket.
What a great tackle.
Unbelievable.
I thought Nan Curvis was out.
Burn Jones as well.
Bit of a knock on Radigalia up forward, needs to deliver, predominantly down back.
Ball on the ground. Curtin, he was taken down before he could get it away. Finally, it comes out to Curtin via a hand pass from Nankervis. So Curtin down the line with his kick. Alia at the back, just cleaning up for Port Adelaide. Back through the corridor he goes. Horn Francis, socks up as usual. Good pass, finds Logan Evans. He's now in the front half of the centre square. You've got to admire the Port fans. They want 50s and free kicks for everything. So short to Jones, then short to half forward to Mead. Port Adelaide in possession. Mead goes inside 50. Dixon, had the ball in the hands, dropped it. Keane knocked it out for Adelaide. Stayed on the ground. The ball's been flicked out to Francis Evans. Snap, goal! Something out of nothing for Port Adelaide up forward. And they get back within a point. 1-1-7 Port Adelaide. Adelaide 1-2-8, and we've travelled through 10 minutes of the opening quarter here at the Adelaide Oval. On the boundary line, Josh Money, can you hear me?
Only just, Crossy. I think the Power fans think they've had 47 free kicks already. Taylor Walker, we know, is out of this game after having eye surgery earlier this week. Riley Thilthorpe came from the ground in the build-up to that goal. He's actually had a poke to the eye as well. He's currently with the club doctor getting a bit of an eye check as well, so I'll keep you posted there, but hopefully for the Crows, no more eye drama.
Well, as I said just a few moments ago, that Alir's almost playing that wicket-keeper role. They didn't have that position last time they played, and Port Adelaide got hurt on the rebound on that occasion. Just perfectly positioned Alir. Were able to get on that loose ball and then counter-attack. And we talk about Fraser Evans. He's a very good little goal sneak.
Crows by a point in the middle. Sweet knocks it down, was looking for Rosie. First of the footy was Rankin, wrapped up, missed his bootlaces. Play continues. Farrell gets it out of there. Long clearance, hitting open to the 50. Sitting back was Worrell to cut it off. Looking good on return from his forearm injury that's kept him out of the majority of the year as he dinks it forward. Still inside defensive 50, but just the required 15 to Saligo. The reigning showdown medalist heads to the Bashir stand. Outer wing, Fogarty the target, knocked away by Zerk Thatcher. Front and square was Crouch. Shares it, little 1-2 with Scholl linking up. Rioli on the hunt though. Big tackle, forced the turnover, a kick down the line. Pushed after he kicked it. And a free kick to come back to the Crows. Murphy will take it and square it up. Here's Hugh Bond at the defensive edge. Adelaide by a point in showdown 56 on ABC Sport.
Adelaide looks at the switch. Bond goes to Worrell, standing just outside defensive 50 in the corridor. Goes wide again with his kick. And a mark taken there by Crouch, just ahead of centre wing by about 2 metres. Out on the eastern side for Adelaide.
Been good already, Matty Crouch.
Disposal number 5.
Inboard with his kick. Perfect disposal too it was. And the mark's in the hands of Curtin, who hands it off to Worrell from inside the centre square. It's deep and long and right on the line, almost pulled down by Fogarty. On the ground, eventually rushed through. Houston able to get it through. Doubles Adelaide's lead to 2 points.
Yeah, Riley O'Brien needs to lift 10 hit-outs Jordan Sweet to 1. Only Riley O'Brien. He had 58 last week against the Western Bulldogs. He's been quiet in this part of the first quarter.
Thoughts of premiership crow Rod Jamieson. Farrell chips it to Rosie and long to the outer wing he goes again. Riley O'Brien there at the fore of the footy with Ratanolea. There's a high tackle. Villarioli caught Bond over the shoulder. That'll be an interesting battle across the night after Bond kept Waitman goalless last week. On the 45, he heads close to the boundary line. Murray has it in front of the Odie stand. Spearing kick into the scoreboard pocket. Caught everyone off guard. Fogarty launches. Fist came in. Ricochets to the paint of 50. Crouch. Centering kick. Read well by Boak. His 32nd showdown tonight. The most in history. The 3-time medalist. The veteran standing up under pressure. Pops it wide to Dixon in the right back pocket. Crows by 2.
Couple of inside 50s there, sorry Aaron, where they've just gone astray. Adelaide missed the target by plenty.
Dixon down the line. Ratanolea was the target. It's come off hands. At the front, kick down to Horn Francis. Horn Francis in the right place. Hands it off quickly to Rosie. Inside 50. His kick was meant for Francis Evans. And Worrell did his Superman act. Just flew across and knocked it out of bounds.
Yeah, well, he was going for Francis Evans, but he had Jace Burgoyne on the outer side streaming to go. He just missed him, and after he stuffed the kick up Rosie, Jace Burgoyne with his hands in the air saying, why didn't you kick it to me?
It was 3-on-1.
It was.
Right forward pocket for Port Adelaide. Off the ruck contest. Horn Francis hooked the arm up and got a high tackle. He went in low and then lifted the arm to make sure Michael Annie was over the top. And the umpire has given him a free kick, 25 out, 45-degree angle.
What's the first one for Port Adelaide tonight? Adelaide have 5.
Well, it's almost his trademark, Horn Francis, isn't it? His ability to burst from stoppage. And what he does, when he takes clean possession, as he did on this occasion, he does draw the free kick. And even though he may have lifted the arm, technically the free kick was there. And he's really difficult to stop when he's got a full head of steam.
So he's outside 50 as he starts his run in. Little bit of a trot. Horn Francis hooks the ball badly and it won't score anything. From maybe 30 metres out, he kicks it out on the full for no score. So as you were, 2-point lead for Adelaide down to the boundary. Josh Money.
After an extensive check, the Crows are happy with Riley Thilthorpe's eye, so he's back into the game.
Keen into Murray, booming kick up the outer side. They converge forward to the logo and Dawson is so strong in the air. Contested mark for the Crows skipper. It's what he does best.
Wonderful attribute, isn't it, too? Just his height to be able to do that.
Looks inside and spots the 2016 showdown medalist in Matt Crouch. And now stagnant ball movement plaguing Adelaide as he looks to move it forward. Dangerous kick in front of the Odie stand and Burgoyne floats across to cut it off.
3 turnovers already, Adelaide.
In the prison bar strip, Jace Burgoyne pounds it up towards half forward, attacking edge. Murray got across from Ratanolea, pushed off him with the bodywork and cuts it off. And we may be held up here as his boot came off in the process. And again, it gives Port Adelaide some time to set. Not sure why they'd be frustrated by that. It's Murray. Pinpoint kick up to the logo to Thilthorpe, presenting far from home. Wants to go, true centre wing. Shares it over the top. It's a public enemy, number 1, Rochelli's kick a little hot into the 50. Cleared the pack converging at the scoreboard and at the back. Bergman with the outside of the boot exit. Nearly found Rochelli again. Slipped through his grasp. Another fumble. The crowd will love that. Thilthorpe wrapped up. Brought to ground. Close to the boundary line, right half forward. The Crows by 2. This is Showdown 56 on ABC Sport.
But Rochelli's kick was perfect too. Just went over the back.
Off the ruck contest, Rosie just soccers it past centre wing. Ratanolea turned around or slid into the ball. And the umpire picked that as a free kick.
That's actually a good decision, I reckon. Yeah, absolutely. He slid in, didn't need to. He should have kept his feet there, Ratanolea. That's a free kick every day of the week. That's exactly why the rule was brought in.
Yeah.
Keane was a little bit sore, but he's got up okay for Adelaide.
We almost got to think a knee into maybe his left calf.
And there's a 50 off the ball, and in fact a free kick down the ground off the ball. And it was Rankin who will get the free kick. And by the looks of it, it was Lockie Jones who was the offender. So the ball moves about 50 metres down the ground to right half forward for Adelaide. And Rankin in the scoreboard pocket tries to find a man. Doesn't do so. It's picked up at the back by Curtin. Hooks it to the top of the square. Numbers everywhere. Man with the eye on the ball was Bergman, who knocked it through for the minus score. Still hasn't been cleared though. Goal umpire wants to talk to Ray Chamberlain. Slows everything down. Adelaide's gets set up for the kick in. Port fans not happy. Are they ever? Oh yeah, when they're in front, they're happy.
A little bit restless at the moment, Port Adelaide fans.
Is he saying it might have been touched, but I think he's saying it was touched. So there was a pack. They've all hit the deck. Charlie Dixon deep in defence. Might have been Bergman's hand that they're waiting for it to come off. Adelaide need to work out where they're going to go inside. That's their third rush behind. We spoke about Western Bulldogs last week, how they enter. That kick deep is not ideal. You want to put it to the front of the square, otherwise your defence is going to knock it through, and they've done that on 3 occasions already.
Inaccuracy was the difference in round 8. It's hurting Adelaide early, 1-4-10. They lead Port Adelaide 1-1-7. Halfway through the opening term, Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Another monster kick from Farrell, high towards the outer wing, and Dawson floats in the hole with 7 bodies around him. Quick darting footy up towards half forward, was looking for Rankin, knocked away from him, head over, it did well with 4 to beat. No look handball, caught Berry off guard, and the big man in Dixon crunches him with a tackle to the ground. Ball up at half forward to come for the Crows. They're headed to the northern end in this opening term. The hill is packed shoulder to shoulder as it's tossed into the air. Dixon beats Steelthorpe with the tap, looking for Rosie, bounced off him under pressure from Berry. We'll try again, true centre half forward. The Crows by 3.
Rosie and Butters with 6 disposal, Crouch 7, and Josh Worrell with 5.
Steelthorpe took the ball out of the ruck, couldn't get a foot to it. Now it's come out from Drew to Wines for Port Adelaide towards centre wing. Sliding in and taking it was Burton, so Burton plays on. He's just inside the centre square, eastern side of the ground, and up to half forward. Michael Annie just connected, or just went too far, and he was able to be hoisted out of the way by Horn Francis, and he took the chest mark inside 50.
Well, it's interesting how Port Adelaide is setting up ahead of the ball. So Jordan Sweet off, Charlie Dixon in the ruck, which means Horn Francis, who, as we know, is dynamic and electric around the footy. He's playing forward, and again on that occasion, just read the ball superbly. Almost took an uncontested mark.
Last one out in the full.
21-17 for the season is his record. He kicks from just on 50, lands it perfectly on the boot, and Port Adelaide snatches back the lead. Port Adelaide 2-1-13. Adelaide 1-4-10. We're in time on in the opening quarter. Your experts on ABC Sport, Josh Franco and Rod Jamieson.
Well, Adelaide at the moment are winning the tough footy. They're 15 tackles to 9, 25-18 contested, 28-20-17 Port Adelaide, the uncontested at the moment, 9-7 inside 50s. It's again just the way Adelaide are actually dropping it into the square, which has caused them a bit of issue. There's been 3 clear turnovers. Port Adelaide have gone forward and have looked dangerous most times.
And what a luxury for Ken Hinckley, as he said. Horn Francis, who's been recruited and traded back from North Melbourne to the Power as a midfielder. And you look at the midfield, Drew, Wines, Butters, you've got Rosie, and as I said, what a luxury to have Horn Francis resting forward.
Second lead change of the night. Port by 3. Sweep down towards Drew and head over the footy as Butters barrelling through 2 bodies, gave it away. Here's Murphy weaving through traffic. Searching kick towards the 50. Aaliyah back with the flight, courageous. Got a hand in. Trickles down 40 out from the Crows goal. Logan Evans flicked a handball out. Just looking for an option. Only found Gallant. Quick on the boot. Screwing it back into the 50. Launching was Farrell, lost it in the wet, down towards Berry, hands it to Fogarty, quick kick towards goal from 40. And the Fog answers back immediately to wrench back the lead. The Crows by 3, 2-4-16, plays 2-1-13, 22 played opening term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Your experts, 4 showdown medals between them, Josh Franco and Rod Jamieson.
Well, I tell you what, I'm one of Logan Evans' biggest fans. On that occasion, I just reckon he felt the pressure of the game. Just lacked a little bit of composure. Handball to no one, and Adelaide able to swoop on the loose ball. And we saw Darcy Fogarty last week absolutely rip the Western Bulldogs apart, and again on that occasion, a fantastic finish.
I know you called Aaliyah going back, but he wasn't in the right position. He had to really get to it. If you're going to play loose, you've got to impact the contest, and albeit he sort of semi-did that. The footy got over the back, which makes it dangerous for Port Adelaide's defence.
5 goals against the Bulldogs last week for Fogarty. Started well as Adelaide gets out of the middle through Dawson. O'Brien did well. He slid in and hand passed as he dived. It's down to half forward. Lockie Jones took it, gave it to Boak. He was running away from the goal and he was nabbed by Murphy. Ran him down with a tackle. He thought about the hand pass inside to Rankin. He's near the boundary line, left half forward. Drops it into the pocket. No mark there. Gallant had just hand passed it out. Berry went to ground. Saligo got it, hand passed over his head. Found Rankin, who ran out of space. Tried a little bit of Eddie Betts magic there, showing the ball and then doubling back and then realising he'd gone over the line. A little bit of push and shove develops. Gee, that's a surprise.
Bit of young and old. Travis Boak getting stuck into the new kid in town, Isaac Rankin. Tossed in.
Not normally like that either.
O'Brien down to Rankin, tried to barrel through and he's set upon. Game tackle by the Power and they let him know about it. There's your war of words. Brought to ground in a heavy hold. Wrapped up by Willem Drew, who just didn't relent. Vice-like grip.
Well, he just paid the price, didn't he, Rankin? He just stuck that arm out, tried to give the don't argue. That's the prior, holding the ball every day of the week.
Drew on the 45 to Houston. Shares it with Farrell across defensive 50.
Both sides, you want to take it on though too. You've got quality. Butters do the same. Boak tried to do it but got caught.
Adelaide by 3 over at the Docklands. Geelong leads St Kilda by 18. You can hear it on the ABC Listen app through the AFL button. Wines now has the footy in defensive 50. Heady outer wing on the logo. Floating across. Ratanolea knocked away from him. Berry fumbled, slipped out of his grasp. Butters to Drew. Hit and hope. Up and under. Wobbler up through the square. Floating across. Burton couldn't control it. His opposing number 3 couldn't. Berry, but he's caught. Put down as he tried to break away from Ratanolea. And Asava has it in the middle. Riding shotgun. He releases Houston. A rocket high into the 50. Rioli wants to pounce. Couldn't get the jump. Knocked down Michaelani. Paddles it down. Saligo. Handball out of traffic. Found Murphy. Pushed as he kicked it and it impacted the disposal. Sitting and waiting was Gallant. And Farrell burst across to cut it off. And we know he's got the distance in that lethal left.
Oh, he's got all of it. This will go through post high.
Man on the marks. 48 out. 45-degree angle to the right.
Well, I guess in true showdown form, you talk about pressure, intensity around the footy. There's no time to take a breath, no time to breathe even when you've got the ball. And it's those with the most composure and making the best decisions under pressure and that can execute under pressure which have the most impact. And at the moment, the heat is on.
Short approach. It won't hurt Farrell's potential. He has launched it from 50. Just couldn't hook it back enough. Started left and just lingered on the wrong side of the goalpost. Minus score, Adelaide up by 2 as we close in on quarter time. 2-4-16 to 2-2-14. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
So Keane plays on, runs his distance, kicks it out to this broadcast side on the wing. Adelaide with numbers. Saligo stood in a tackle, hand pass to Crouch, went wide to Scholl. Over the shoulder, heard the call of Laird. Over the top, dangerous hand pass to Crouch. He got it over his head. Back to Scholl, forced forward. Saligo's got it at half forward by himself. Down to Rochelle, quick to the boot. Adelaide alone in the goal square is Keys. And the ball just took too long to get to him. He was tackled, released it, Gallant on the ground, socketed it towards the goals. Philthorpe there, there's still a chance. Keys, he's got the ball at his feet. He can't hand pass it. Bergman runs through the pack and eventually scores a try. He takes it through for the minus score. And now what is Ray Chamberlain doing? In fact, no score. Bergman free kick.
High contact.
Just that kick, it looked like it was all on. It was going to be an Adelaide goal, but it's hit the turf and really didn't roll forward. It just sat up.
So Crows by 2. Long exit from Bergman. He was looking for Burn-Jones. Knocked away Keane. Spun in the washing machine. Came out to Sweet. Gave it away back to Michaelani. Bit of volleyball right now. Nankervis gets it out of there. Retreats with a handball to Laird. Then Dawson. Nice composed kick to Curtin, who wheels around. Darts it inside 50. And sliding in for the chest mark was Big Riley Philthorpe. Straight in front, 40 out.
Well, I tell you what, Joe, I don't know if you sort of sense the same, but I just think Adelaide are a little bit more composed with ball in hand. They've had 14 inside 50s to Port Adelaide 8. They've taken away Port Adelaide's ability to kick mark in their back half. forced them long down the line, and just with the ball in hand, they've made really good decisions. Matt Crouch leading the way with 9 disposals. He's been outstanding.
11 goals in 5 games. Riley Philthorpe ready to take the mantle off Tex Walker. He crosses the paint of 50 and misses to the right-hand side. Fouled his first task of the night. Crows up by 3, 2-5-17 to 2-2-14. Just under a minute to play in this opening term on ABC Sport.
Well, that was in his wheelhouse. He just didn't hit it well at all. Pushed it out. Lucky to make the distance.
Houston sends the ball long, and he comes onto this broadcast side. Wines with the mark. Quick release. Off to Butters by hand. His kick was perfect. Burton takes it at half forward. Inside 50. Oh, it's slid through. It's at the top of the goal square. It's on the ground. Still, and Nankervis for Adelaide dives at it. Ratanalea was in the area, so was Burn-Jones, but Adelaide sweep it through for the minus score. Boy, that was dangerous. And how quickly Port was able to move the ball from end to end to the margin. Port trailing.
Tell you what, that kick from Butters just opened it up, didn't it?
Didn't it?
Unbelievable vision.
Nankervis searching kick up to the broadcast wing, spills out the back and rolls over the boundary line. Still time if either side can be clean out of this boundary throw-in. Crows by 2, quarter time at the Docklands. And Geelong leads St Kilda by 17, 3-2-20 to just the 3 behinds for the Saints.
Clearance with 3 clearances. O'Brien with 1.
Tossed in, slipped out of Sweet's hands. He tried to take it out of the ruck contest, and Butters is wrapped up for his troubles. We'll go again.
Rosie, Horne-Francis and Willem Drew all with 2. Leading the way, 10-6.
Forward of centre wing for the Power. O'Brien knocks it down. Drew wrapped up before the ball even reached him. Hits the deck in the tackle. And that'll do us for the opening term of Showdown 56. It's been hot, it's been heated. It's been everything we've asked for. Adelaide leads by 2 at the first change. 2-5-17 to the Power, 2-3-15. The goal scorers, all individual. Horne-Francis, Francis Evans, Fogarty and Isaac Rankin. Zach Butters has 9 touches, as does Matt Crouch. Kane Farrell with 7 and 6 to Rosie, Horne-Francis, Saligo and Murphy. It's great to have your company as part of this doubleheader tonight on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app. This is Showdown 56 on ABC Sport.
WORDGURU. Out of Tim Minchin, Zoe Coombsma and Tom Gleeson, who's best at spelling?
Does anyone really give a hoot about spelling anymore?
Based on the international hit series, join Guy Montgomery and Aaron Chen, challenging Australia's top comedians in a brand new contest of skill.
It's like mixed martial arts, but with words.
And no martial arts.
Guy Montgomery's Guy Mont Spelling Bee.
Watch them squirm.
Stream all episodes free on ABC iView.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Head over the footy. Crouch has to find a target. Plenty to choose from. They're queuing up. And he finds Isaac Rankin, 25 out. He plays on quickly, snapping around the body for the opener in Showdown 56.
Keane knocked it out for Adelaide. Stayed on the ground. The ball's been flicked out to Francis Evans. Snap, goal! He kicks from just on 50, lands it perfectly on the boot, and Port Adelaide snatches back the lead.
Down towards Berry, hands it to Fogarty, quick kick towards goal from 40. And the Fog answers back immediately.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
The 2 South Australian heavyweights going blow for blow to kickstart Showdown 56. It's been entertaining in front of a packed house to continue round 23 on ABC Sport. Adelaide leads at the first change by 2, 2-5-17 to 2-3-15 in this arm wrestle of a contest. Over at the Docklands, Geelong leads St Kilda by 17 points there at quarter time. And earlier today, Melbourne defeated Gold Coast by 54 points. The Giants had their 7th consecutive win in a row, pipping Fremantle by 9. And Collingwood upset Brisbane by a point to really rattle the makings of the top 8. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross calling the action for you for Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport. And your experts to break down the opening term. Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson and All-Australian midfielder Josh Franco.
Well, we mentioned throughout the course of that first quarter, in true Showdown style, the pressure and intensity is what we expected coming into the game. And I also written down in front of me speed. speed of ball movement, but also speed for players to close time and space with the ball carrier has been absolutely outstanding. And what I will say, I reckon Adelaide at the moment, and I mentioned that towards the end of that first quarter, looked a little bit more composed under the heat of the battle as we speak currently. The inside 50s, Adelaide 14-9. And some of the key stats, which I reckon would be a little bit of a concern, if not a big concern for Ken Hickley and their coaching staff. So contested ball at the moment, Adelaide are plus 14. So that's starting to get away from Port Adelaide, and the ground ball gets. So their ability to outnumber Port Adelaide at in the scramble and at the fall of the ball. So they're plus 10 to quarter time in the ground ball gets as well. But at the moment, and we've got a cracking game on our hands. As we said, the margin's only 2 points, but for me, the Crows are looking the better side currently.
Well, I think the stoppage clearance work too. Port Adelaide are winning that, but the hit-outs is a concern for me. Again, we spoke to Tom Liberatore last week, and they got beaten significantly, but when you're actually winning it, it actually makes it obviously easier to go, and you can actually anticipate and run too. But when you're not, you've actually got to wait, defend, and then sort of go and then get the footy back, because you just don't know where it's actually going to end up. For me, I think on 2 occasions, we saw Lockie Murphy, he really shanked the kick and pulled it in, missed the target. Ryan Burton did it down here late in the quarter as well. And then Adelaide were able to rush it over for Port Adelaide's first rush behind. But you're right, I just think the intensity too of the game, we had no doubt it was going to be there. The turnovers, that's been the critical piece on both sides. I think Adelaide have been cleaner around the football, and particularly in the middle of the ground when there's been the congested area, and they've been able to go inside 50. Adelaide 14-9 inside 50. That 3 rush behinds. They just had to get another 1 or 2 goals, and you'd actually then go in and say 4-3 or 4-2 or something along those lines. You would have gone, yep, we've actually done okay in the first quarter, but they had plenty of the football, but both sides really had it.
Well, the other thing I've really liked about Adelaide, so Port Adelaide, having watched them out throughout the course of the season in their back half, they do like to kick mark and sort of kick mark their way out of their back 50, and Adelaide have taken away their ability to do that, forcing them long down the line, and then they're losing that critical contest on the wing. Port Adelaide able to rebound off of that, and they've set up scoring opportunities as well. So we've got a cracking game on our hands. Port Adelaide not playing at their potential at the moment. Adelaide looking pretty sharp.
A couple of dangerous players. Alira only the 1 disposal in that quarter. Radagalia up forward with the 1. Willie Rioli, we know, is dangerous. He's only had the 1 disposal. 2. Darcy Fogarty the 1. Mitch Hinch so good off the half-back line for Adelaide. He's got the 1 disposal. Riley O'Brien needs a lift with only 5 hit-outs and 2 disposals.
It's the perfect tune-up for a final side, considering they've had a blowout over the ladder leaders and a tough, gritty victory at the MCG. Facing a crosstown rival in a tough, contested affair is certainly one way to go about it. And for the Crows, what a momentum booster it'd be, Jamo, to be able to knock off Port Adelaide and hopefully set up a better campaign in 2025.
Well, it's head-to-head, 28-27. Adelaide have won the last 3, so heading into the finals, finishing off the year. Both teams have got a significant match next week. Port Adelaide take on Fremantle. Adelaide have got to go and take on Sydney. But to take out a showdown just to finish off the year would just put the cream on the cake.
Has certainly felt like a mini grand final, as Josh Rochelle alluded to, and it's already started early in the goal square between Aaliyah and Riley Thilthorpe. The goal umpire's nearly involved as well, just shoved into the contest. So watch out for the biff there. Adelaide by 2. In the middle, the tap goes the way of Rosie, volleys it out of there up to half forward. Early clearance for the Power. Nankervis fumbled against Francis Evans, put his head over it, couldn't wrench it out. Nankervis gets another chance and is brought to ground in the tackle, top of the 50 on the paint. So Port Adelaide to the left-hand side of your radio dial, the northern end. Sweet down, beautiful tap in the path of Horn Francis. 45 out, curling it towards goal. 5-star footy. The Hornet strikes. That is a magnificent set play. Jason Horn-Francis has 2. And Port Adelaide hit the front to start the second term in the space of 40 seconds. 3-3-21 plays 2-5-17. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, I was lucky enough to play with guys like Matthew Primus and Brendan Lade that could put it on a dime for his midfield crew. On that occasion, Jordan Sweet take a bow. That was unbelievable and killed it beautifully, Aaron. It was definitely a set play. Horn-Francis on the fly, and I must admit, I've sat up here and said, young players throughout Australia, don't worry about kicking on your left. That was unbelievable. Just to finish full speed on his left, under pressure, outstanding play, Port Adelaide.
I think it's quite possibly the first time I've seen him have a left foot kick at the ball this season. Back in the middle, he'll go again. He's got it out of the middle on the right foot this time. He received from Butters. Ratanawa almost took it, had an argument for being held. Murray got the hand pass out to Worrell for Adelaide, and they clear it out towards centre wing. Came off the chest of Dawson. On the ground, a little toe poke towards the boundary. Rankin picked it up, hand pass quickly forward. Found Keys, was pushed. It'll come back, it'll be a free kick for Keys. About 5 metres in from the boundary. Horne-Francis, the offender.
Sure, I wasn't the only one that actually said that Riley O'Brien needs to lift his work rate. 13 hit-outs to 5 still, and what a hit-out that last one was.
Port by 4 as Keys sends it up towards the 50. Fogarty came late to crash the drop. Knocked it away from Houston. Berry waiting on the boundary line. Up and under, up towards the 50. And Burgoyne was there to cut it off. He's in front of the Rashudo stand. And the son of a gun called back on his line just inside defensive 50. Up the outer wing they go. Driving kick towards the logo. Sweet on the charge. Falconed O'Brien in the end. Big fend off from Barry to get away from Drew, but he hospitalised Dawson, who's collected in a big tackle and coughed it up. Rosie now, tumbler, a worm burner towards the 50. Horne-Francis entangled with Michaelani. The Crow hits the deck first, and the Hornet pops on top of him. Ball up, 45 out, slight angle to the right. Port by 4.
3's a quarter time, 8-4 in favour of Adelaide.
Ball goes in the air and Sweet knocks it down. Horne-Francis tries to break through, tackled straight away. And the umpire says, give it to me. Michaelani and Horne-Francis don't like each other. It's a real clash of cultures in that one. Off the ruck contest, Berry flips a hand pass that he maybe shouldn't have given to Saligo. Lost control of the ball, slapped it forward. Rankin picks it up, bombs it long. Going back with a flight, but not getting there, Philthorpe. Alier had position A and took the easy defensive mark at centre-half back. Spreads it to Jones, and Port Adelaide back in control.
Has to be a better and smarter inside 50, doesn't it, or when you go forward 2-on-1.
Yeah, I thought Rankin just lacked a little bit of composure there. Again, feeling the pressure of the game, just hacked it forward, and Alier sitting back, playing that wicket-keeper role.
Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson, 4-time showdown medalist Josh Franco. Jones went to Rosie, then Bergman. And now they've chained it up towards the broadcast wing to Logan Evans. He's right in front of the benches and called to play on. Arcs around Berry. Heaving it into the 50. Ratanolea floats in front, knocked it down to Burn Jones, running out of room in a phone box, paddled it straight to Saligo for the Crows, although he's put Murray in a lot of trouble. Just handed it to him, caught in a sandwich and brought to ground. A lot of the disposals in traffic have been unfair to their teammates for the Crows. Port by 4. 45 out, they're attacking 50. Sweet down to Horne-Francis again. The bulldozer this time hits a brick wall as Jordan Dawson brings him down. Ball up, 50 out.
It'd be a nightmare to stand at stoppage, Horne-Francis, especially in this form at the moment where he's reading it superbly off hands.
This time it was Rosie's turn. He gave a hand pass out straight away. Drew kick for goal. On the snap, just away to the right, minor score. Port Adelaide extend to a 5-point lead. Adelaide straight away. Kick comes in. Straight down the ground to 40 metres out to Crouch.
Plays on past Butters. Beautiful kick up towards Dawson. Perfectly weighted behind centre wing outer side. Over the top, searching for Keys. Hits him back with the flight and he brushes off Sir Thatcher to play on quickly. Releases Laird. Spearing kick into Gallant. Couldn't control it. Ricocheted down. May have actually hit the boot of Laird as it went over the boundary line. And the umpire wasn't having any of it. It'll be tossed back in front of the Rashudo stand. Port by 5.
That was superb defending there from Lockie Jones. No gap, no space on his direct opponent and forced to spoil out of bounds. Outstanding.
Ball flipped over the back. It got to Dawson. One step, or rather hinge it was, one step. But it's going to come back as he went long and wide. So out on the full. And it'll be Zirk Thatcher eventually when the crowd returns the ball.
Only the second time Adelaide have been in their 50 in this quarter.
Zirk Thatcher keeps it out on the eastern side. Long looking for Dixon. Ball comes off his hands to Drew. Forced to hand pass immediately. Butters with a great turn. Got away from Crouch. Kicks long to centre half forward. Burton just pumps it inside 50 by the fist. Going back was Michaelani. Went to ground. And over the top came Horne-Francis. And Michaelani gets the free kick for the high shot.
It's just the balance, isn't it? He wants to get at the football. He just had to play that a little smarter.
They're invested in every call, the Power faithful. Up by 5 as Michaelani for the Crows heads to the outer side. Ball hit the deck. Dixon became the tackler. Dawson got it out to Crouch. Now Hinge on the 45, flaring it to Fogarty. Fumbled but gets a second bite. On the bounce, he's running a mile. Got away from 3. Then hoists it towards the 50. Phil Thorpe prevented from jumping. Hit the deck and head over the footy. Lockie Jones, steam train. Bounced straight through Hinge. Came out wide to Butters. Buffeted off the kick. Down the line he goes. Through centre wing. At the back, Murray. Awkward bounce. Went wide of him on the 45. Then Curvis searching as well. Towed out of there by Rosie. At the back was Ken. Little soccer to Crouch. Very intellectual. Rosie's closing. Has to get a kick away. Crouch quick and accurate. Hits up Hinge diving forward.
Sweet in trouble behind play with an arm injury. Right arm looks like it's trouble. Scholl's got the ball midfield for Adelaide. Flares it across the half-forward line to Keys. Over the top. Inside 50. Fogarty by himself. Got to look at goal now. And he's about 20 or 30 metres in from the right-hand side boundary and shooting from maybe 35 out.
Well, my initial thought, going back to Jordan Sweet, that he dislocated his shoulder, but it looks like an elbow in the hands of Port Adelaide Club Dr. Mark Fisher, but it looks like it's an elbow and he doesn't look to be in too much discomfort, so that's probably not bad news for the Power.
Get down to Josh Money in a moment as Fogarty comes in, trots in, and like several players before him, really struggles to get that ball in the direction of the goals. I thought it was going out on the full for a moment, but he shanked it for the minor score across the goal face. So it tightens the match up. 4 points in favour of Port Adelaide. We're in 8 minutes into the second term.
Houston plays on. And long ball to the outer wing. Dixon on the charge. Keane caught behind him. Good pack mark. Hands it quickly to Wines. Searing kick up towards Horne-Francis. On the logo. Waiting for his teammates to flood forward. True centre wing. He'll chip it wide to the boundary line to Burgoyne. Poured up by 4.
9 disposals to Horne-Francis. At the moment, he's in everything.
Burgoyne to Drew. And the man on the mark. I reckon it was Mitch Hinge. Didn't realise he was supposed to stand. Actually backed off it. And there will be a 50-metre penalty against him.
I think Port Adelaide playing with a real balance at the moment, particularly in the second quarter, of speed and slowing the football down. So they don't want to get it on too quickly. Again, not dissimilar. Alir, just with that one and loose or an extra behind the footy. Adelaide doing well defensively too. So a little bit more methodically and well planned by Port Adelaide in this second quarter.
A costly penalty against Mitch Hinge is a gift for Willem Drew. Comes in from 35 and slots it. Oh, he's missed it to the right-hand side. Crowd rose behind the northern end, but it is a minor score. So Port's lead is 5, and Adelaide isn't wasting any time. Driving it up towards the broadcast wing, and a strong mark amongst 4. Nick Murray will move it up down this broadcast side.
Long ball over the back, finds Thilthorpe at the end. Tumbles it inside 50. What's the bounce like? Gallant and Jones were there. It came to Bergman, released a hand pass. Finally, it's Wines who picks it up cleanly. Give it to Thatcher by hand, and then Houston, and then wide with a kick. And Logan Evans, a metre in from the boundary with the mark here on the broadcast side ahead of Scholl.
Yeah, they did that well then, Port Adelaide, as they go inside short, just with the numbers, and Isaac Rankin just sniffing around on the ground.
Wines was the short target. He backs up, and now he plays on down the line, still on the broadcast side. Brandon Alea comes, ball punched away from him by Keane. There's Rochelle going in. He was dumped when he didn't have the ball. He ran straight into Wines, and Wines returned the favour by dumping him to the ground. That's a free kick. I don't think some of the Port supporters understand the rule. But anyway, inside 50 goes Rochelle and long.
Lockie Jones launched into the pack to try and cut off, and he's had a heavy landing. Play continues, holding the ball. Was picked up by Burgoyne and is wrapped up by Rankin. It's all happening out there at the southern end. Lockie Jones may have been tunnelled to force his drop. Rankin will quickly take the shot at goal. And Isaac's got 2. And the fury across the Adelaide Oval is unmissable. They're incensed, the Power faithful. as Adelaide hits the front at the 11-minute mark of the second term. 3-6-24 to 3-5-23. Josh Money downstairs.
Cannot understand for the life of me how that was not a free kick. The immediate concern is around Lockie Jones at the moment, but he has waved the physios away for now. Of course, he has had a big head knock in a showdown before. Jordan Sweet's the other one on the bench. As Josh Franco mentioned, it is his right elbow that's giving him some grief. He's had it strapped and spent a bit of time with Dr. Mark Fisher, taken a couple of painkillers as well. Certainly not moving it super well and seems to be in a bit of discomfort, but at this stage, he looks as though he plans to come back on.
Back in the middle, it was Dixon who came across the line, and it was a Shepherd said the umpire in the ruck contest. Play on advantage, Saligo for Adelaide. Long kick, inside forward 50, ball to ground. They slip and slide around inside 50 and nobody with a clean possession. Farrell picked it up, Murphy took him down, umpire said throw it up.
You've got the targets up forward, Port Adelaide at the moment, and that's what they're trying to do, but when it hits the ground in the back half, Adelaide are all over it.
Crows by a point, tapped down to Rankin, he's lurking dangerously, snaps from 20, it's hooked across the face, top of the goal square, Thilthorpe rose up, couldn't claim it, hit the deck, Gallant tackles high, as Houston put his head over the footy, and a free kick to the Power, who are under all sorts there. Heads wide to Burgoyne, and they get out of dodge, long ball to the eastern wing, and Burton strong up against Worrell, used the body to take the mark.
Just needs to take a breath here now, Burton.
Port footy, Adelaide by a point. Burgoyne now surging up the outer side. Good kick to Rosie. Put it down though up against Laird. Becomes the tackler. Brought him down. Holding free kick. And it will go Port Adelaide's way. Rosie brought Laird down and has been paid the free kick for the hold against him. And he's cashed in with an exquisite kick to Burgoyne. Had a runner on the outside. Burton wants to go long. He's banged it from 50 and missed to the right-hand side. So scores are level, 3-6-24 apiece over at the Docklands. Geelong up by 27 over St Kilda. Showdown 56 live on ABC Sport.
And Curvis tried to take off and do a little bit of showboating, and he dropped it in. Picked up by Boak, and the ex-skipper nails a goal for Port Adelaide. Nothing in it except a mistake from Nankervis. Bit off more than perhaps he should have tried. And Boak pounced for the snap. Port Adelaide 4-6-30. Adelaide 3-6-24. Great finish from the former skipper.
Just looking at the replay, just said Nankervis just tried to sell a bit of candy, and Rioli probably doesn't get anything for that, but just got a hand in it to force the ball into a scramble, and Boak, the superstar veteran, was able to kick up, pick the ball up off the ground cleanly and kick truly. This is a cracking game.
Thoughts of four-time showdown medalist Josh Franco alongside Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross calling the action, and Josh Money's downstairs on the bounce.
So Jordan Sweet back in the game for Port. Lockie Jones has just come from the ground though. Obviously the club doctors have reviewed the vision. Of course he's had a fair amount of history of concussion in the past, now going down into the room. So that's a worrying sign for the Power.
Yeah, it's not ideal, is it too? And players looked a little cooked. We're only still 10 minutes remaining in this second quarter, but both sides just taking a breath.
Port by 6. Out of the middle, towed out of there by O'Brien. Found Rochelle wrapped up. Here come the jeers. The theatre of Showdown 56. Josh Rochelle, the villain of the night. Tossed up. Sweet caught in a couple of tackles as he took it out of the ruck. Dropped it. Play continues. Rosie jams it out of there. Threading the needle up towards Ratanolea. Ricochets now to Farrell. Another half volley, this time into the 50 for the Power. Worrell overran it. Fumble as well from Saligo. Laird then flung it out. Only found Burn-Jones. He's rolling it towards the goal. The race is on. Rioli trying to get there. He's happy to let Murray knock it over. And we're coming all the way back. Field umpire isn't happy. We're going to get what I reckon is a ball up. 45 out.
Throw. Laird's throw.
There he is. So the 3 bites at Adelaide, and Laird did fling it overhead. Found Burn-Jones. May have tried to take the advantage, but it's coming back. Zach Butters set shot to come. 40 out, slight angle to the left.
What I will say as well, in fairness to the umpires, it's so congested, it's high intensity, and it's difficult to pick out free kicks in the scenarios that they're faced with. And I didn't even see that one with Laird with the throw. I think you did, Crossy, but I must admit I missed it. But Tough gig for the umpires tonight.
So Zach Butters on the approach, crosses the 50, driving it straight, it's starting right, and misses. Doesn't come back enough. 4-7-31. Port Adelaide lead the Crows 3-6-24. 16 played, second term, showdown 56 on ABC Sport.
To go back a little early, I thought Jordan Sweet was unlucky. He's pulled the footy out of the ruck. He went to kick it, got tackled, didn't even kick it, and the umpires called play on.
So Keane's kick in found Scholl, defensive 50 for the Crows, broadcast side. Down the line he goes, coming across the front. Dawson couldn't take it. O'Brien kept it in. Saligo came past, but ball forced over the line by Wines, right where the interchange gates are, so plenty of changes coming up for both sides now while the opportunity presents.
Had a bit of rain in Adelaide today. I mean, Adelaide always dries out pretty quickly, but I'd like Josh just to have a look at the conditions a little later.
Off the ruck contest, Wines flips it back to Horn Francis, thought about the left foot, decided with the hand pass. Right near the gates, it's picked up by Butters. Inboard with a dangerous kick. Turned over. Rochelle with a chance. No, he couldn't get it. Beaten by Logan Evans. Gave it to Houston. Goes across to the eastern side to the point of the square and finds Burgoyne.
That's the one.
That's exactly the one, Jamo. That's why you don't try to stir the Port Adelaide supporters up pre-game.
The mental demons of Josh Rochelle pulling out of a contest would be lurking. Luckily, Port Adelaide haven't got out of there as Burgoyne looked to move it to the outer side. He missed his target.
I didn't mean to hit you.
No, you've got a dead arm in that.
It's all happening.
I reckon the Port Adelaide players didn't see it either, otherwise they would have been into him.
Everyone's
Maybe they
excited.
are verbally.
There's plenty of highlights to unpack. Port Adelaide by 6, tossed in, Sweet won it down. First of the footy was Murphy, extracts it to Crouch. Quick kick off a step, up towards the 50 and Alir was waiting. Sitting back to cut it off, right back pocket. The 2021 Showdown medalist.
Twice this quarter now, Adelaide have decided to go long and high. Alir just keeps dropping off. We need to kick it low and short.
Alir sends it back where it came from. Sweet in front, fist in from O'Brien, spill towards Saligo. Got out of the tackle from Burgoyne, back to Dawson, another quick kick. Straight down the line as Jamo called it and only finds Alir, who's starting to rack it up.
He just reads where the ball's going, doesn't he? If his player goes non-dangerous, he drops off as he did on that occasion and read it superbly.
3 marks in this quarter.
Port working east to west. They've come up to this broadcast side of the ground to Zerk Thatcher. Fire a couple of short kicks. Zerk Thatcher down the line wasn't a great kick. Set up boat. Scholl came across and neither player, I think, touched it in the end. Across the boundary line. It remains in Adelaide's half of the ground at right half forward. They're attacking the River Torrens end of the Adelaide Oval. Big night for Port Adelaide. Important night for Adelaide with its fans, but for Port Adelaide, that top 2 positions beckoning.
7-point lead to the Powers. It's tossed in off hands. Quick tackle laid.
Only 7 points the difference, the favour of Port Adelaide. 6.5 minutes remaining in this second quarter. Port Adelaide have had 16 more disposals.
Ball to Rod Jamieson there on ABC Sport. O'Brien wins it down, only found Drew, quickly wrapped up by Dawson. Got boot to ball, off balance, and only finds Nankervis. Rising up behind centre wing on the broadcast side.
What Port Adelaide have been able to do at quarter time, Adelaide were plus 14 contested ball at the moment. Is Port Adelaide plus 1 in that key stat.
Nankervis driving ball up to right half forward. Alir there again, knocked away from him. There's a whistle at the drop. Free kick going Port Adelaide's way. And Sean Dawson isn't happy about it at all. Free kick to go to Alir. The 2 superstars clashing in that contested marking opportunity. Alir pinpoint to Butters. He tried to break away from Murphy, read him like a book, had to rush his kick forward. Zach Butters up to a 2-on-2. Murray with the fist inside to the centre square. Crouch overran it, Laird read it best. Handball out towards Gallant. Overhead, he loops it in the path of Thilthorpe. Volleyed it straight towards Dawson. Now Murphy over the top to right half forward. The Crows are surging. What link play, but Laird can't finish it. Took too long, turning it right half forward. And Houston with the smother to knock it over the boundary line. Port by 7. Josh Money downstairs.
Well, Jamo asked about the conditions. No real rain around, but it is noticeably dewy, and that footy is like a bar of soap at times. Still no Lockie Jones for Port as well, so he's increasingly unlikely to come back into this game.
Can Adelaide get a late one? Well, Murphy threads a hand pass to Rochelle from the contest, and Rochelle sinks a goal. And he's straight across to the Port supporters to let them know about it. Rochelle with the goal. It's a 1 point game again. Adelaide 4-6-30, Port 4-7-31. What a contest.
Just looking at that stoppage too there, Jamo. Houston's actually got the job on Rochelle, and he was his direct opponent at that stoppage and just gave him far too much latitude. And sorry, Crossy.
Rochelle's gone across to the crowd and pointed to his teeth, as in the Port supporters have no teeth.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's all theatre.
Yeah.
There's a fair bit of free advice coming back the other way too.
He's playing his role magnificently. Josh Rochelle, the pantomime villain of the night.
But really poor from Dan Houston on that occasion. Again, he's a dangerous player around goal, Rochelle. You've got to pay him the respect.
And to have Lockie Murphy too on his own on correct goal side.
Yeah.
Port by a point, Sweet won it down, found Drew, quickly wrapped up.
And Lockie Murphy's one of those. They'll send him as a forward into the stoppage, and it looked like his opposite defender for Port Adelaide was just mirroring him. As you said, he was free. Probably not good enough there from the power.
Ball drops wide of the rucks. Crouch-toed it forward. Foot race is on. Fogarty knocks it away from Zach Thatcher. Will he get there first? The big man runs it down. Darcy Fogarty soccers through his second. And Adelaide back in front. It'll be our fifth lead change of the night. 5-6-36, plays 4-7-31. Time on second term. Showdown 56 on ABC Sport. Your experts, four-time Showdown medalist Josh Franco and Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson.
Well, clearances overall now 17-14, and what that makes up is 5-4 centre clearances, and how important that is, and just how quickly Adelaide were able to do it on that occasion. 13 stoppage clearances to 9, so Adelaide slowly getting it back in this second quarter, but just too easy for Adelaide.
Looks like Jordan Sweet's coming off the ground again, Aaron. Doesn't look right, does he?
Dixon into the middle too, and then you've got Lockie Jones.
Bit of a concern.
So it's just going to hurt the rotations, isn't it, too? Dixon will going to have to do a lot of this, and maybe they have to swing Radigalia as well.
Dixon got first hand to the ball, followed up, socked it towards half forward. Francis Evans couldn't take it in. He's picked a crouch, tried to fling a hand pass, no success there. Rosie tapped it back, Boak inside 50 with a kick. Ball to ground about 15 from the goal face. Francis Evans beat one, and then he was taken down in a tackle. Umpire called play on. It came to Berry. Back to the play, kicked the ball, but out of bounds on the full. I thought Adelaide could have got a free kick there. And just before Francis Evans takes the shot at goal, we'll get to Josh Money.
Yeah, it looks like it's actually a cut to the eye of Jordan Sweet, so it's not the elbow that's giving him the immediate concern at this time.
Thanks for that, Josh. Sorry, Gemmo, keep interrupting.
No, I was going to say that it's a little bit concerning for Port Adelaide. Looking at some of the numbers, Rioli just the one disposal, Radigalia 1, Evans has only had 3. So not enough of their players getting hold of the footy ahead of the ball.
Francis Evans across the goal face and rushed through by the Adelaide defenders, and the minus score. So that brings it to a 1-goal game, or 4-point game, I should say, in favour of Adelaide.
Over at the Docklands, Geelong leads St Kilda by 26, approaching half-time there as well. Long exit comes from Keane, up to the broadcast wing, and Houston read it best.
Just used his body, pushed Riley O'Brien out of the way. Not good enough.
Soaring kick back into the 50, rising up the big fist from Murray, smashes it towards the painted defensive 50, and Keys is happy to keep it rolling as he toes it towards the boundary line, gets a kind spin as well as it stays in. This time it really needs to work as he loops it forward with a side kick, eventually rolls over the line, and the umpire says toss it in. He did very well to flirt with the boundary line and just squeeze it in the field of play, Ben Keys.
He's gained 100 metres with 2 kicks. His work rate to get to the footy, 2-on-1.
Everybody knew what he was trying to do.
What about his speed as well? Farrell, who's got some wheels himself, couldn't go with him, and I think the Port Adelaide faithful hoping for a deliberate out of bounds.
And his hair was not out of place at all, Aaron, either.
Especially in the wet, Jamo. Crows by 4. Rod Jamieson, Josh Franco, your experts. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross with you for Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Boundary umpire looks like you and me.
So the ball back into play. There's a lot of Port supporters out that side of the ground giving the umpires some free advice, that's for sure. Butters off the contest. Gets it towards half forward. Radigalia was not looking at the ball until the absolute last second. He was too busy trying to engage Keane. Took the mark. bombed it, literally bombed it. It's way up high into the forward pocket. Off hands it comes. Murphy with the hand pass for Adelaide. Crouch was involved. Laird was there as well. Now Berry. They've got it outside defensive 50. Laird back to Berry. Showed the ball. Got a Port Adelaide player off his feet. Forward hand pass. Finds McElhaney. He steps around a couple as well. Gave it back to Murphy. Now it's down to centre wing. And Adelaide holds it in, and forces the ball up. Well done by the Crows, scrambling away from their defensive area.
They have defended well, haven't they, too? They've really just basically got their fist to it, just hit it as hard as far as they can, and just smart footy under pressure.
Adelaide by 4 in the stoppage. Burgoyne run down in a tackle from Murphy.
Well, interesting as well, looking ahead of the ball for Port Adelaide. The only tool they've got there at the moment is Radaglia. I know he just took that mark, but hasn't had much influence. Maybe they've got to think about their method and changing it up, going inside forward 50 the power.
O'Brien down, ricochet towards Soligo, nearly flung it out with one arm. Whistle stays away. Murphy only found Dixon, smashed it on the bounce straight to Ratanolea, who marks 50 out, 45-degree angle to the right. Doesn't look confident in his kick, and he's looking for options, but maybe forced to take the set shot now.
The brute of a man. I'm not sure whether he has got the distance in him. Oh, he's looking to give it off too.
Had the outside run of Butters, but Thilthorpe breathing down his neck. So the big Fijian, Asava, will take his shot. Man on the mark has been pulled back to 45.
Got his eyes on the goals.
Ratanolea winds up. It's across the face. Very wayward. Dixon charges out. Can't meet the drop. Ricochets to Rioli, though. He pounces. Slips over. He's too quick. Handballed it to himself. Bit of Eddie Betts, but couldn't get it back. And under pressure, it rolls over the boundary line. Knocked by Scholl. Adelaide by 4. Port. Bit of a sniff here as they're looking to lurk dangerously with 2 to play in the second.
Just had to give it first. Torn Francis, wasn't it, too? Was the man that he had available. He chose not to.
Dixon straight down the front. Butters claimed immediately. Hand pass in front of him. Picked up there by Francis Evans. Quick to boot. And just away to the right-hand side. He was a little bit unlucky. He had only a moment to put the ball to boot. And it just came out off the outside of his boot for the minor score. They closed it within 3 points, Port Adelaide. 28, nearly 29 minutes into the second term.
Francis Evans, just terrific goal sense, doesn't he? Just knows where the big sticks are.
Keane just checked the kick up to right half back. He's looking for Fogarty. Lowered it a bit too hard and chiselling its way towards the boundary line. It's off hands.
12-9 inside 50s in favour of Port Adelaide on this occasion, or second quarter, but 5 behind, the 6-1 being rushed.
Adelaide by 3, toss back in. O'Brien slipped over, Dixon lost the drop, so in the end, Francis is the one, bursting through, kicked into the 50, knocked away from Ratanolea, head over at Butters, he's wrapped up, set upon by a couple, will get a ball up 25 out. 45-degree angle to the left, we're inside 50 for the Power, who are looking to hit the front. The dying stages of this second term, tossed up, Dixon down, Francis Evans, or Butters rather, flung it towards Rosie, brought down and gave it away. Dawson to Laird, gets it out of there up towards the defensive edge of the square.
Thilthorpe couldn't take it, but he brought it down. Berry was taken high from Adelaide, flicked the hand pass to Dawson. Dawson was allowed to carry on. There was a free kick in there, play on advantage. Now tried to soccer forward Mead. Instead, McElhaney picked it up. Gave it to Berry. They're down to half forward with a kick. Was Shelley a good mark at half forward. Straight across with his kick. He's looking for Thilthorpe. Or surely he marked it? No. Down to Rankin. No, it's going to come back. Thilthorpe marked it. Stopped it dead. And Port fans not happy, but Rankin's hand pass had found Nankervis, who was basically running into goal. So one way or another, Adelaide was going to get a shot at goal.
Actually, one play I'm going to keep an eye on as well was Connor Rosie. There was a tackle in Port Adelaide's forward 50, got slung to the ground. It looked like his head hit the ground quite hard, and at the moment he looks like he's a little bit worse for wear, Connor Rosie, so I'll keep an eye on him up here.
Thilthorpe, 40 out, just to the right. In he comes, and no mistake from the big man. Took a while to acknowledge he'd kicked the goal, but he has it and extends Adelaide's lead. For Adelaide, it's a game-high lead. 6-6-42, plays 4-9-33. Goal kicking hasn't been the best thing about this game, but boy, it's been tense, there's no doubt about it. We're closing in on half-time in Showdown 56. Adelaide with the lead, down to Josh Money on the boundary.
Well, Josh Franco is spot on. Kind of Rosie's head definitely did hit the ground in that sling tackle, so he's one to watch. No immediate attention from the doctors. Positive news for Lockie Jones. He has actually emerged from the rooms and is on the exercise bike. No movement from Quinton Narkle, the sub, so he may be looking to come back into the game, which is a boost for the Power.
40 seconds remaining now in this second quarter, and they can't get Jordan Sweet on in the second half. They've actually got some concerns in the ruck, haven't they, too, as to what to do.
Adelaide by 9. Dixon wins it down straight to Rosie. Pounced on by Berry. Handball came out to Wines. Kick smothered by O'Brien. Wines goes again. Shoveled it out to Butters. Quick kick inside 50 as he turns for home. Up towards the arc. Awkward drop for Burn-Jones. Diving in, Burton becomes the tackler on Nankervis. Ball up to come, 30 out.
Port Adelaide screaming for a goal here. 9 points down. Adelaide need to save.
Port's 50. O'Brien taps it straight to Butters. Around the body, heads for home. Too wide and shallow. And a diving attempt back with the flight. Murray misread it. And it rolls towards the boundary line in front of the scoreboard. So Adelaide by 9, and there's enough time here for one last stoppage for Port Adelaide in their attacking 50.
Where's Jason Horne-Francis? He'll hit the contest. Received a free by putting his head over the footy in the first quarter.
In comes the ball. O'Brien knocks it down. 2 Port Adelaide players involved in a collision. One of them was Horne-Francis, took him out of the action. Ball finished up going over the line again. We'll get another throw in.
The other player was Rioli, Crossy, both trying to get their lick of the ice cream.
Yep.
No communication.
We wait again.
Halfway. Open it up for each other.
Ball comes in again. And that's all she wrote. Dixon nodded it down. He was looking for Horne-Francis. But at halftime, what an interesting first half. As I said, the goal kicking hasn't been perfect, but the game has been an absolute joy to watch. It's just been up and down and lots of pressure on. And at halftime, it's Adelaide 6-6-42, Port Adelaide 4-9-33.
Something's got to give at some point, Crossy, because it's been an absolute arm wrestle. The goal scorers at the major break for the Power, 2 to Horne-Francis and singles to Evans and Boak. Meanwhile, for the Crows, 2 to Fogarty and Rankin, singles to Rochelle and Thilthorpe. 6-6-42, playing 4-9-33. Over at the Docklands, Geelong leads St Kilda at halftime, 9-3-57 to 3-6-24. The only double goal scorer, Sean Manor. Individuals to Woods, Stengel, Steele, Neal, Nevitt, Higgins, Ollie Henry, Dempsey, Dangerfield and Cameron. So sharing the load there, but Geelong currently leading St Kilda 57 to 24. And what this all means in the grand scheme of things is the shape of the top 8 and the top 4. So as it stands, with Adelaide currently leading at half-time, Port is in 4th. Brisbane lost earlier today, so they cannot drop out, as Fremantle lost as well, but top 2 on the line in this contest. And Geelong is above them now. So with that current victory over St Kilda and Port Adelaide's current loss, the Cats would be a game clear in 3rd and Port would be down in 4th. So plenty still to play for as we wrap up this doubleheader on ABC Sport. We'll run through a couple of other codes as well in your text. Welcome 0437 774 774. But first, the analysis of our 2 experts, Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson, All-Australian midfielder Josh Franco, watching on here at the Adelaide Oval.
Well, just keeping an eye on the frees too, because the Port Adelaide supporters, there were 6 in that quarter to Adelaide, 4 to Port Adelaide, so overall 14 to 8 in favour of Adelaide. So you can look at it either way. Adelaide getting their head over the football, Port Adelaide were behind, but Jason Horne-Francis has been the star, hasn't he, too, in that first quarter with his impact. 11 disposals and his 2 goals. He just seems to be doing a lot of the grunt work. But I think they could probably feel themselves a little bit unlucky. It was Miles Bergman in the first quarter that was denied a mark where he probably had 2 grabs. And then you go the other end just then, and Riley Thilthorpe just takes that one and actually kicks the goal. So very similar in what actually happened. And one gets a mark and the other one doesn't. So, look, it's going to happen throughout the game. But I thought the way Port Adelaide played that second quarter was really good and smart in the early part of the second quarter, but then Adelaide really started to get on top, and I think, again, it's just the way that they want to move the football, they want to move it quicker, they have numbers, they want to come through the middle, and they are carrying it, whereas Port Adelaide tend to slow it down. Both sides at times want to kick it off the ground and just get it alive and keep it forward, and I think certainly Port Adelaide probably gained that on a couple of occasions by actually marks being taken in their forward half, but it's still a little bit to play out for me. I think the concern, Lockie Jones 1, that'll be a concern. How they're going to bring in a half back. Does that then put Ryan Burton back? They have to swing them around because then they think Quinton Narkle might go forward. But Jordan Sweet's the big one. He is so dominant in that first half. 17 hit-outs. Riley O'Brien in the end, only, he got on top and he's had 20 when he's been off. Dixon's there. But that'll be a real issue because if he has to come off, I don't think Dixon can run out in the middle of the ground. Whether they have to go Radigalia, they might have to put him. But then what do you actually do, like to bring on Quinton Narkle at some particular point? So I think they've actually got some real headaches going into the second half.
Absolutely. And if you look at traditionally, Port Adelaide have a Marshall, they have Georgiades, they've had Finlayson, they've had Dixon. It's a very different looking forward line for Port Adelaide as we speak. And as you said, with the, concerns over Jordan Sweet, if Charlie Dixon has to spend more time in the ruck, they do look very small ahead of the ball. So you spoke about it in that second quarter, that do they have to sort of potentially look at changing their method inside forward 50 rather than the high long ball in? Do they even that sort of chaos ball and hit it to grass? And obviously in these conditions the ball will skid onto it and let their smalls get to work. But the area of the game, as we said at quarter time, I thought Adelaide were outstanding. They had real composure with ball in hand, and the area of concern I thought for Hinkley at quarter time was the contested ball numbers and the ground ball gets and the work rate of the Crows in the scramble and the contest. And they were plus 14 in contested and plus 10 in ground balls at quarter time. But that was an area Port Adelaide were able to get back in their favour at half time. And in that second quarter, they were plus 3 at contested ball and plus 1 at ground ball get. So their work rate around the footy was pretty good. But to your point, Jamo, towards the back half of that second quarter, Adelaide looked really dangerous going forward. Rochelle was having an impact. Thilthorpe looked dangerous as well. Fogarty looked dangerous, and when they get speed of ball movement, we saw it last week against the Western Bulldogs, inside their forward 50, they do look very sharp and they're efficient going forward ahead of the ball.
Zach Butters has had the 21, and he's had 11 contested and 8 ground ball gets, 7 clearance, but he's not, I don't know if he's having an impact. He's getting a fair bit of the footy probably back of centre too, and whereas the other side, Matty Crouch, he's had 17, and it's he's got 11 uncontested. He's normally in and under and winning the hard football and doing that. So he's managed to change his game when he has to, and he's actually, when he gets the footy, he can get it out to others. But
he's been outstanding, Matty Crouch.
Hasn't he? Yep. Isaac Rankin probably a little quieter in that second half, but when it comes to ground in the forward 50 for Adelaide, they look electric too. Lockie Murphy, we know his defensive work's good. He's probably not as offensive, but Isaac Rankin around that football, really, really dangerous too. Connor Rosie's had the 14, but the back line of Adelaide probably seems to stand up. Alir has been the one out for Port Adelaide that's done a really good job. So
I reckon it's interesting as well. And look, I know it's only half time. The margin's 9 points in favour of Adelaide, but there'd be a lot of Crows supporters listening to our broadcast saying, where was this early in the season? I know that we'll debrief that and see how the game unfolds. There's still a half to play out, but they're playing a very impressive brand of footy.
Yeah.
Same old story over the last few years.
Yeah.
So 23 and 22, they won 3 of their last 5 to wrap up the year and give them a bit of momentum heading into the next campaign. And it's the same record right now, but we've still got a fortnight out to go. So yeah, Adelaide tends to turn up when it's a little bit too late, but that means they'll be an absolute nuisance for Port Adelaide, who are currently trying to lock in a top 2 spot with everyone falling away around from them, but they could stumble as well at this stage. The Crows by 9 as we head into half time, and Zach Butters the best for the power with 21, Matt Crouch with 17, and we mentioned the matchup of Hugh Bond in the pre-game as well, keeping Willarioli quite quiet, just the 3 touches and yet to hit the scoreboard. So in an undermanned forward line, that's a pretty big blow as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, Hugh Bond last week, he did the job on Waitman and was outstanding as well. Very unassuming type player, Bond, but he's doing a good job.
And it's sort of, Max Michaelani's normally that player, so it sort of frees someone else up to do that too. And I think for me, I think Port Adelaide would look more dangerous if they can get Quinton Narkle into that forward line. And you're going to have to, though, you know, like Max Michaelani will have to go with him, and then they'll have to work out, does Worrell stay there, Nick Murray stay there, Nankervis could possibly go with him too, but the defence of Adelaide just getting their fist to it, being really dour. At times have probably overdone it, which has allowed Port Adelaide to keep it in their forward 50, and Travis Bloke has kicked a goal from it.
And I reckon the other talking point is, I know we mentioned Lockie Jones, if he doesn't come back, I reckon that's almost 3 concussions this year. Is that fair to say?
Yeah,
so if you have 3 in, I don't know, 18 games, 19 games of footy, that's a real concern as well.
Thoughts of Josh Franco, Rod Jamieson, your experts tonight for Showdown 56 on ABC Sport. We'll give you a score check of what's happening in the other game and what happened earlier today in the first three footy games of this Saturday on ABC Sport, plus what's happening in the other codes in a moment. But for now on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app, we can take the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News, I'm Sam Wilkinson. The Lebanese Health Ministry says an Israeli strike in southern Lebanon early Saturday has killed at least 10 Syrian nationals. The strike in Nabatea province is among the deadliest in Lebanon since October last year. Israel says the target was a Hezbollah weapons depot. Lebanon's acting health minister Faraz Abiad says Israel's recent actions suggest it's not interested in a ceasefire.
As a temporary solution, a ceasefire is extremely needed. Unfortunately, we have seen that the position of the Israeli government, they are following a very hardline approach, and a lot of the actions that they have carried out recently suggest that they don't think that it's in their interest to have a ceasefire.
Meanwhile, the UN has appealed for a humanitarian pause in fighting in Gaza following a confirmed case of polio in the enclave. The Palestinian Health Ministry says the first case of polio in Gaza in 25 years has been detected in an unvaccinated 10-month-old baby. The UN is poised to launch a polio vaccination program for more than 640,000 children under the age of 10. But Secretary-General Antonio Guterres says the challenges it faces are grave.
Health, water and sanitation systems in Gaza have been decimated. The majority of hospitals and primary care facilities are not functional, and people are constantly on the run for safety. And routine immunizations have been severely disrupted by the conflict.
The New South Wales Electoral Commission has denied a Liberal Party for extra time to submit nominations. The party missed a crucial deadline to file paperwork for about 140 candidates for next month's local elections. The Liberals will refund nomination fees in full to all their endorsed candidates who are left off the ballot. Some candidates are considering launching a class action for loss of councillor earnings. Former WA opposition leader Mia Davies has been pre-selected by the National Party to contest the new federal seat of Bullwinkle at the next election. Last year, Ms Davies announced she was stepping down as WA's Nationals leader and would resign as an MLA for the Central Wheat Belt at the 2025 state election. The Liberal Party will pre-select its candidate for the seat later today. Labor is yet to finalise its candidate. Ms Davies says the attack on WA by federal Labor, including the ban on live sheep exports, was the tipping point that prompted her to enter federal politics.
This is a state that delivered the Labor Party the keys to the lodge, and yet we are the state that has borne the brunt of so much of what this government has done.
A 4-year-old girl has been taken to hospital after being bitten by a dingo on Gari, formerly Fraser Island. The Queensland Parks and Wildlife Service says the animal attacked the girl near Ngala Rocks on the eastern side of the island around 11 o'clock this morning. She suffered lacerations, bruising and a puncture wound to the chest and was flown to Harvey Bay Hospital in a stable condition. Rangers are investigating the incident and monitoring the dingo. A 16-year-old boy is being charged over an alleged hit-run collision that killed a motorcyclist in Melbourne's northeast last weekend. Police allege the boy was behind the wheel of a stolen vehicle when he collided with and killed a 19-year-old motorcycle rider at the intersection of Bell and Victoria Streets in Preston. He's being charged with a number of offences, including dangerous driving causing death. Champion racehorse Black Caviar has died a day before her 18th birthday. The mare captivated the nation with 25 wins from 25 starts, taking nearly $8 million in prize money before her retirement in 2013. Among her biggest wins was the Diamond Jubilee Stakes at Royal Ascot in the UK in 2012. Trainer Mick Price has been in the industry for nearly 5 decades and says he does not expect there'll be another horse like Black Caviar.
People love heroes in any sport, anywhere, anytime. They love the heroes. And she was a hero of the sport. Why is Lionel Messi iconic? Because people love sport, people love achievement, and you couldn't get a better achiever as a sprinting racehorse than Black Caviar.
And Indonesia's leaders have marked a milestone, the first National Day celebration at a new capital city they're building in Borneo. Indonesia correspondent Bill Birtles reports.
President Joko Widodo travelled to the construction site in East Kalimantan in Borneo for Independence Day, and he was sending a message that this $45 billion mega project must continue after he leaves office later this year. An elaborate ceremony at a partially completed new presidential palace aimed to show progress and commitment. But the new city, named Nusantara, is short of investment funds and running behind schedule. Joining Widodo on stage, his successor Prabowo Subianto, who will come to office in a few months with some other big spending priorities. But he says he will continue the project. Bill Birtles, ABC News, Jakarta.
And you're up to date with the latest ABC News. For more news at any time, you can download the ABC Listen app.
Tune your mood with the ABC Listen app. Get swept away in a podcast.
Do you do that?
Oh, Richard, of course.
Choose the news that suits you.
I'm Sabra Lane and you're listening to AM.
Call live radio shows.
So you were terrified?
I don't know. Listening to your show got me through it.
And find a playlist that moves you. Anytime, anywhere, every day. Life sounds better with the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Beautiful tap in the path of Horn Francis. 45 out, curling it towards goal. 5-star footy. The Hornet strikes. Rankin will quickly take shot at goal. And Isaac's got two.
And Curtis tried to take off and do a little bit of showboating and he dropped it in. Picked up by Boak and the ex-skipper. Nails a goal for Port Adelaide. And Murphy threads a hand pass to Rochelle from the contest and Rochelle sinks a goal. And he's straight across to the Port supporters to let them know about it.
Crouch towed it forward. Foot race is on. Fogarty knocks it away from Zach Thatcher. Will he get that first? The big man runs it down. Darcy Fogarty soccers through his second. And Adelaide back in front.
Bilthorpe, 40 out, just to the right. In he comes. And no mistake from the big man.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
It's been one of the best nights at the theatre. An unbelievable contest of Showdown 56. It's had everything we'd hoped for. A tug-of-war between both these sides, wrenching the lead away from one another. We've had 5 lead changes. The margin has stayed under double digits the entire night. Adelaide leads by a game-high 9 points at the major break. 6-6-42 to the Powers 4-9-33. You just feel like we've scraped the surface of something special tonight. A game where Port Adelaide are hoping to lock in a top 2 spot. The Crows, meanwhile, have Port Adelaide's number in the last few showdowns and would be happy to extend that record as they look towards 2025 and a chance to cost their crosstown rivals a pretty helpful place heading into September. Still plenty to play out. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross calling the action. Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson and 4-time showdown medalist Josh Franco, your experts. And he's been happening across the day in the AFL world, though. If you've joined us for what was a big day of footy, we started with Melbourne and the Gold Coast. A bit of a dead rubber, but a big result for both sides, you'd think. Melbourne winners by 54 points. The Demons obviously needed it after the tough week that they've had in terms of their credibility and momentum heading into next year. And the Suns, meanwhile, losing so emphatically as they were just about to fall short of finals. Big blow for their credentials as well. So the D's kicked 10 goals to 2 after half-time. Jack Viney had 30 touches and 2 goals. Disco Daniel Turner had 4 for the D's. And the only downside of the day for Melbourne was Tom Sparrow hurting his ankle. Alongside that matchup, we headed to the Sydney Showgrounds where the Giants and Fremantle clashed in a top 8 bout that was going to set the stage of the run home. And Fremantle fell just short in a bit of a to-and-fro contest between the two sides. The Giants winning by 9 points. They were up late, and then Bailey Banfield gave away a 50-metre penalty that essentially secured the win, with Jesse Hogan kicking what would be his 6th goal and locking away the Coleman medal, you'd think, with a round to go. It's the Giants' 7th consecutive win. Tom Green led the charge with 40 touches, and Brett Daniels had 29 and 3. And then the middle game was a huge upset. Brisbane up against Collingwood. It looked like the Lions were dead set home. They're up by 17 points at the 25-minute mark, and in a matter of minutes, the comeback kings in Collingwood got it done once again. Winners by a point. Bo McCreary kicking the winner off that late surge from the Pies. Nick Dacos had 25 touches and 2 goals. What a result for Collingwood, who this season is still technically alive with a game to go. They've kept themselves in the mix. Obviously, Fremantle falling short, left that door ajar. So they're half of a game behind the Dockers, who are in 6th, and they're tied for scores with the Bulldogs, Hawthorn, Carlton and Collingwood. Obviously, the other 3 sides are still yet to play. But it's not entirely over for the Magpies as we roll towards the conclusion of the regular season. So a massive result for Craig McRae and his Chargers in the NRL. Crossed the border, had a few games today. We've seen the Bulldogs knock off the Dolphins 30-10. The Cowboys defeated the Raiders 42-4, and the West Tigers currently lead the Rabbitohs 18-10 at the 62-minute mark. So a lot happening. We'll keep you across it as the night progresses, but all eyes fixated on Showdown 56, and we've had plenty of drama. So Joshua Shelley lost a contest early, and it looked like maybe his words during the week were going to come back to bite him. He bounced back emphatically with a big goal and then ran towards the front row, pointed to his teeth. The banter between the week was essentially backing up the, I guess, how would we word this?
Well, no, he just called it out straight away.
Saying that Port Adelaide fans don't have any teeth.
And then he doubled down and said it on another radio station.
Pointed to his teeth after kicking the goal. So, yeah, he's certainly happy to play the role of villain tonight, and he's relishing it out in the middle. On top of that, Jordan Sweets had some issues with his elbow. And we had some concern over Lachie Jones with a concussion. The good news is that both of them look set to go to kickstart this second half. So we'll check in with Josh Money across the third term, but the subs remain with their vests on, and we continue as is with Adelaide leading by 9 points, 6-6-42 to the Powers 4-9-33. How does it play out from here, Jamo?
Oh, well, I'm a little unsure, actually, to tell you the truth. I think this is really important, the next 10 to 15 minutes of this quarter. So the obvious is just get on top, either side. Port Adelaide sweep back into the middle too. They missed him in probably half of that second quarter, and then Riley O'Brien really was dominant in the air. So if they can actually win that back, they might start to win the clearances again.
I reckon it's going to be one of those that just comes down to the wire. It's just got that feel to it to me. No one's going to be able to get the advantage on the scoreboard, albeit 9 points to Adelaide at the moment, but it's going to be one of those showdowns right to the last 4 or 5 minutes. It's definitely game on.
Score check at the Docklands. Geelong leads St Kilda by 27 to start the third quarter there. Here it's Adelaide by 9. The Showdown 56 continues on ABC Sport.
Never been a draw in a showdown. Ken Hinkley in game number 270 as coach. Never had a draw. Ball in the middle. Horn Francis just stabs it off the ground. Inside forward 50 for Port Adelaide. Followed up along the ground there by Mead into the forward pocket. Rioli goes to ground. Adelaide over the ball. Nobody can get clean possession. They're rolling around. There's about 4 players on the ground, another 5 standing around. Umpire says, let's ball it up. Right forward pocket. Riverbank stand into the ground.
Right-hand side of your radio dial. O'Brien down, looking for Hinge. Can't escape the grasp of Rathanalea. Comes out. And Crouch has got 2 to beat. Runs out of room. Ball up to come. Still 15 out.
Ollie Wines has been quiet. He's only had the 9 disposals.
Port's 50. O'Brien looking to get it out of there. Only found Butters. Ran into a tough tackle and flung it out in the process. Free kick for a throw going Adelaide's way.
I don't think Butters is all that happy with the call, but Razor Ray was in pole position to make that decision.
Certainly shot out pretty emphatically, but how is the question? And a 50 as well. Whether that was the descent, we'll wait and see, but quick play on. So Crouch took his 50, tried to share it, and will actually be called back. So now he's the defensive edge of the square. Broadcast side, Adelaide by 9. Matt Crouch, best and fairest winner for the Crows. Sends it up to left half forward. They converge. Hits the deck. Dawson's waiting front and square. Empty 50, so he sends it towards goal. It's a bouncing footy in the left forward pocket on the Chargers' shoal, and he's edged out of it. Had too much momentum, and Burgoyne used it perfectly. His kick is a little hot, though. Over the head of Butters, coming through. Sweet, wrapped up by O'Brien. Did well. Got it to Bergman, Zerk Thatcher, then Butters. Here comes the rebound from the Power.
Mead was tackled just as he tried to handball to Butters. It's caught on the ground. Butters spilled from his grasp, and then a high tackle. Yes, it was a high tackle made by Worrell.
Port Adelaide very lucky then.
Mead with the free kick. Sprays it wide, and Worrell goes across and intercepts brilliantly. Down the line, looks for Phil Thorpe, picks it up. And he was looking back over the shoulder, and there was Aaliyah who tackled him over the line. And they're into it again, the 2 players who have stood in the goal square, pushing and shoving as the previous quarter started. We'll get a throw in.
Crows by 9 on ABC Sport. O'Brien taps it down, bounces in front of Saligo. Again, wrapped up by a couple of tackles and a heavy drive late from Sweet. Almost lost his balance against his shorter opponent, and it's lucky he didn't drive Saligo head first there. Concerns of Rod Jamieson beside me. Sweet down, only found Rankin. Barges past Butters. Pushed him off the tackle, handed it to Crouch, now releases Berry, into the 50 go the Crows, and Lockie Jones set himself well to cut it off with the intercept floating back. Uses Farrell, to the outer side go the Power. In front of the Wanganeen stand, it bounces to Burgoyne.
Burgoyne off his left foot, a wobbly kick that Drew was able to get just behind the logo on centre wing. Plays on, goes into the corridor, Hinge with the intercept mark over Horne-Francis.
Port Adelaide have turned it over there all night through there.
One thing I've been really impressed with Adelaide, even at the start of this third quarter, is their speed and their ability to chase and pressure the opposition and pressure Port Adelaide's kicking.
Hinge flares to the outer side, to the eastern side of the ground. Michael Annie picked it up, took a bounce, and then went down inside forward 50. Fraser McGurk. Thatcher took the mark. Then had the ball knocked out of his hands a little late, but the umpire hadn't even blown the whistle, so now he takes that relieving kick, sends it back long. Riley O'Brien up high. Bergman at the front takes the ball off hands. No clean hit out of there. Finally, it comes back to O'Brien by hand, and they move it through Dawson to Laird, and then wide with the kick from Michael Annie, and just inside the boundary line is Fogarty, who plays on.
Bang on the front row, he sends it into the scoreboard pocket. Too long for Thilthorpe, he lost his footing. Gallant, the tackler at the back, head over at Mead, now wrapped up by Rankin, who mounts him, drives him into the turf and forces the ball up.
It's a really dangerous period here for Port Adelaide at the moment. At the moment, Adelaide look harder and cleaner in the contest, and they're getting the inside 50s, currently 4-1 this quarter.
Crows by 9, inside their 50 as well. Thilthorpe head over it out of the ruck contest, left it behind, wrapped up Burgoyne, caught by Scholl. We've moved back slightly, so 35 out now from the Crows' goal.
And the Port Adelaide back 6 under enormous pressure.
Quickly back into the air, O'Brien down, found Wines, bowled over, big hip and shoulder from Fogarty. Kept going and tackled Bergman in the process. Oh, he's a tough opponent.
Just need a big slap here to get it out of the congested area.
Third time's the charm. Sweet looking for the boundary line. Dawson sitting back. Gathers, running out of room. Did well to find Laird. Had to keep it in around the bodies. He hooked it towards O'Brien. Fumbled. And Farrell walks it over. 48 out. Right forward pocket for the Crows. They're up by 9. No score so far in the third term. For Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Looking around the crowd, a lot of uncertainty on the faces of the Port fans at the moment. Ball comes back in. O'Brien gets the front. Drew was there as he just hooked the ball out of the defensive area. It came off Ratanalea to Horne-Francis. There was a holding free kick that was given to Ratanalea. So it left half back. Takes the ball, sends it high, straight down the line. Dixon the target. Keane got there, smacked it high in the air. Ball comes down, favours Burgoyne. Quick hand pass off to Butters. Hand pass over the top. And then a look away. Hand pass by Burton. Found Burgoyne. Goes to goal. Was pushed in the back. It'll come back. Lockie Scholl, the offender. So Burgoyne will have a look from that eastern side of the ground. Maybe a 45-degree angle. And I think this...
a soft free kick.
Yeah, I was going to say that, Jamo. Soft free kick. Technically there. And they'll probably review that as an umpiring committee and go, no, he pushed him in the back. So technically it's a free kick, but not a lot in that.
So Burgoyne, I think tonight, there's no breeze at all to speak of. He's probably on his distance in this weather.
The last 2 kicks have been flower bags as well.
In he comes, kicks it from about 48, kicks it pretty straight. No, it's away to the right, and it may have even come off the behind post. Wait on the umpire. There's going to be a discussion there. Ray Chamberlain comes in, bring this meeting to order between himself, the goal umpire and the boundary umpire. And they'll have a look at it, and the soft call, I think, might be a behind. So I'll have a quick look.
I reckon it came off Keane's knee straight into the behind post, so that's a boundary throw-in, I reckon.
Yeah, right. So it's actually hasn't gone all the way over the line and hit the... So that's the ideal outcome for Port Adelaide, not so for Adelaide.
Did the Port Adelaide players pick up on it, or was it the umpires a bit unsure?
Yep, so we get the throw in. So after all that, it's been confirmed. Strangely enough, I think I had one of the best views. I had my binoculars out and I saw it. The boundary umpire was standing behind the post, if you like, looking along the line, as was the goal umpire, so they didn't quite see it. So we'll get a throw in, right forward pocket.
Crows still up by 9, and that's the margin at the Docklands. St Kilda closing on Geelong. The Cats up, but it's thinning. Toss back in. Sweet down, looking for Butters. First to it was Curtin. He's run down by Rioli. Quick kick off the deck, as Bond ended up squaring it towards Keane. Defensive goal square.
Just looking at Port Adelaide at that stoppage there, not a lot of players working together to look to get blocks and screen. It's almost every man for himself at the moment.
The Irishman tried to play on, read well by Dixon. He's under pressure and did well. Got the exiting kick to Murray and he's away. Turning and putting on the Jets. Up the outer wing looking for Keys. One-on-one, brought it to ground. Bounced off Farrell, gave it to Sholey. Ran straight into a heavy hit. Ball shoots out to Rochelle. Quick kick towards the 50 for the Crows. Murphy couldn't control it. Now at the attacking edge. Laird links up. Crouch to Dawson from 60. Misses to the left-hand side. Oh, the skipper was eyeing off a big special finish. Adelaide by 10. 9-minute mark, third term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
That is the first score of the quarter. It's taken a while. Houston brings the ball in, comes to this broadcast side. Ball covers the players there. Boak was involved, and so was Curtin, and went over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in. Josh Money on the boundary.
Yeah, an interesting series of events with Lachie Jones. He passed his concussion test and started this half. He's now made his way to the back bench, and Frankie Evans, the sub, is getting ready to come on. So I'll get an official update there. May just be tactical.
Or delayed. In any case, off the ruck contest, Port advanced the ball another 30 metres or so down the line with a quick kick from Rosie. We'll get another throw in.
It was interesting going back to Lachie Jones. He was in the hands of the doctor right up until he went into his position to start the third quarter, so they were clearly had concerns over his welfare.
Tossed in, Crows by 10. O'Brien straight to Horn Francis, and the don't argue on Hinge. He held on, and Anaconda just wouldn't let go. Mitch Hinge gets him. The big ball caught. Free kick Adelaide, and Hinge wants to go. Up to left half forward. Picked off too much. Trying to find Saligo. And floating across, Rosie with the fist knocks it over the boundary line. He's a tough man to bring down.
Well, the sigh was because no one was on Horn Francis at the stoppage, and he just got a free run at it. But Hinge, what a tackle.
Here we go again.
Yeah, no one's on him again.
So we've got, I think, Nan Curvis it is, or Hinge is on him here.
Murphy's floated across in the end. Thankfully, the tap didn't go his way for Crows fans. Down towards Rosie, up the broadcast wing. Kicking, trying to find Dixon. Keane kept his footing, and Dixon didn't. Under pressure, did well on the 45. Hits Murphy. And running past releases Nankervis, arching the back. He darts through two, parting the seas. Up to the 50. Rising was Gallant. Knocked it straight down to Hinge. Tight angle on the left. Can't curl it through from 35. Minus score on the left-hand side. Adelaide up by 11. Josh Money downstairs.
Just had confirmation from Port Adelaide. It's Achilles soreness for Lachie Jones. So he did pass that concussion test, but his Achilles that will see him out of this game.
Really?
He's had a bit of everything this year. Concussion, hamstrings, Achilles. Poor Lachie Jones.
Farrell brings the ball in for Port Adelaide. Drives it to that eastern side of the ground. Long he goes. Madeline got rid of his man. Ball came to the front off his hands. Wines gave it to Burgoyne and then back to Wines, and then a fumble from Burn-Jones. Adelaide picks it up. Scholl gave it to Michael Annie. Inside 50 with a kick, fighting hard there. Gallant, did he bring it down? He did. He's going to be rewarded with a free kick in any case for a high shot from Zerk Thatcher. But Lachie Gallant looked like he had some good control of the ball as it came down.
Only 11 points at the moment too, but it feels more.
Absolutely, it does. And even just looking at the numbers, the inside 50s this quarter, Port Adelaide defenders are under the pump. It's 9-2. And we played 8 minutes of actual game time. Yeah, the Port Adelaide defenders are under siege at the moment, holding up well so far this quarter, but you just feel like the floodgates could potentially open in the next 4 or 5 minutes.
So Gallant, who kicked 8 goals in the SANFL last weekend, earned his place in place of Taylor Walker. He's got that eye injury. So Gallant wanders in. He's going to have to kick it every bit of 50. has his shot. It's going to land short. Lots of numbers in the goal square, and eventually it's forced across by Port Adelaide for the minus score. So to start the second half, we've had 3 behinds from Adelaide and nothing from Port Adelaide. The margin, a neat 2 goals in favour of the Crows.
Burton bangs it up the spine, looking for Dixon. Coming in late with the fist was Keane. Spills down towards Nankervis, snapping back towards half forward. Keys there, knocked away from him. Bergman caught in the tackle. There was a hold. Got the handball away. They'll take the advantage. Rosie kept going while everybody stopped. Time slowing down as the skipper sends it into the 50. Ratanolea trying to mark against Keane. Did well, the drop of the footy to Crum. Hands it to Dixon. Burne-Jones is alone. 35 out. Heads for home. Porter back. Just like that. End to end go the power. And it's a 1-goal game in Showdown 56. Adelaide 6-9-45, Port 5-9-39, 13 played, third term, Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Aaron Bryans, Neil Cross, Rod Jamieson and Josh Franco with you.
Well, I reckon there's 2 things there. I reckon Miles Bergen, I haven't seen the replay, but I reckon go and buy a lottery ticket. That was not holding the man. I reckon, to the naked eye, looking at it live, I thought it was holding the ball every day of the week. And the other one, going back to, is it Gallant's kick? The set shot for goal. It was a long kick. He never looked confident in the distance. Probably should have just hit top of the square. It went through for a rush behind, and Port Adelaide able to rebound off the back of that.
Darcy Burne-Jones with goal number 49 in his AFL career. Started his life as a half-back. Out of the middle, it'll be Butters. Interesting hand pass inside, looking for Sweet. Rochelle got him. He couldn't get rid of the ball effectively. Murphy on the ground, knocks it back for Adelaide. Crouch, off to Rochelle. Quick foot the ball. Got it down to half forward. Bergman went back with the flight, took the mark. He's at centre half back. Straight away, long, straight. Looking for Dixon. There was holding there, said the umpire. Keane, the offender for Adelaide. Dixon goes low and hard. Francis Evans couldn't get control of it. Now it's flicked up to Horn Francis, tries to hook it back, no success, hits the behind post out on the full. And Worrell, who took him down effectively, then helped him back to his feet. That's Adelaide helping Port Adelaide. Never happens.
It was a dangerous looking tackle as they closed in on the fence, Jamo.
You didn't see that at all. Well, Crossy.
Crows by 6. Out of defensive 50 they go. Port have the numbers at the drop. Zerk Thatcher got a handball out of the tackle, looking for Boat, cut off. Berry now, shovels one, too short for Gallant. Berry goes again, and brought to ground this time for a ball up. Adelaide by 10. Midway through the third over at the Docklands. Same time frame, Geelong by 6 over the Saints. And out of the stoppage, we've got a free kick. Non-controlling umpires spotted something, and it's going the Crows' way.
50 metres away.
Free kick to Matt Crouch.
Pushed in the back.
So he has it behind centre wing broadcast side. Another touch coming up. 7th for the quarter. And what will be his 23rd for the night. Up to the attacking edge. They converge. Throw a blanket over them as it falls to ground. And Dawson is the last man at the bottom of the pack. Adelaide by 6. Quick reset. O'Brien down, head over it. Crouch may have copped a little bit of high contact from Boat, front on, and a dangerous kick as it's tried to sock her out of there, and it's on. Boat getting stuck into Crouch, who puts down the veteran.
He took a dive too then. He wanted the free.
Free kick to Lockie Murphy out of all of that. Josh Money's right downstairs in front of it.
Well, they talked about Ryan Burton's versatility this week. He started this game forward, but looks as though he's now gone back into defence.
Adelaide move it across the ground. Keane played on when perhaps it wasn't on. Got it to Bond now. Bond sets up. Big Phil thought he was in trouble. Adelaide will get possession again through Keane. Keane goes down to half forward. Berry couldn't take it. Saligo crashed in the tackle. And Logan Evans is rewarded. So Port Adelaide have forced Adelaide back just by sheer desperation. And now Logan Evans is forced to play on. Almost turned the ball over. Here comes Fogarty, big tackle. He got Houston out of it. And it's going to come for a throw-in. It's finally gone over the line. Port fans not happy.
Gee whiz, some big plays there, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Keane was outstanding, had Rioli all by himself ahead of the ball in that bit of play, and then a couple of big tackles there from both teams.
You can't look away, don't go anywhere, it's all happening. Tossed in out of side, Dixon and Thilthorpe end up sandwiching the footy. Spills out to Dawson, towed away by Horne-Francis and picked up by Burne-Jones, who hacks it up towards the 50. Slipped through Ratanolea, Narkles on the sub. He can't control it. Becomes the tackler on Keane. Ratanolea trying to keep it in. Narkle did well, out of the phone box. Hooks it around the body. Now Curvis got front position on Frankie Evans. Spilled to the back. Worrell dancing and dodging a bit of Saturday night fever, and he gets it out of there. Hit and hope up towards right half back. Slipped through the midst of Dixon. Zerk Thatcher to Butters. Dodges past Rochelle. Logan Evans sends Port back inside 50. Rioli caught behind. Big double fist from Keane. Bang! Rankin's collected with a huge hip and shoulder, and he's down and out, and it is on.
This will explode.
That was a huge hit, and it has erupted at the Adelaide Oval. Rankin's in all sorts. Chase Burgoyne with the hip and shoulder.
Was it Burgoyne or Houston?
Houston.
Yeah.
Dan Houston put him down.
Yeah, that is going to be weeks on end, and Adelaide have every right to explode on this occasion too, and I think Houston knew it.
And that could be seen in 2025.
Yeah.
We've got 3 separate melees and scuffles going on across the ground. Rankin's got 4 trainers around him. It's heated. Predominantly Port fans in attendance, but it's a Crow who's down.
It's just the sort of thing that, you know, you might have seen in the 80s and 90s, but you just can't see it, and you can't do it anymore.
Well, I was going to say in a showdown, I remember the Byron Pickett-Rhett Biglan's collision.
Yeah.
That was similar.
Dan Houston, who could be playing his final showdown anyway, has just collected Isaac Rankin. And there are scary signs here as the trainers have circled around Isaac.
A few of the players having a chat to Ray Chamberlain, Matty Crouch in particular, letting him know.
The scuffle has stopped, but play won't resume for a while, you'd think. The Crows are about to lose a speedster to a concussion test.
They're all protecting Houston now. They're all getting around him, all Port Adelaide players, to make sure Adelaide are lining him up.
The stretchers come out as well. Worrying signs here in Showdown 56. Here's the replay. Big hip and shoulder. Houston's come in not trying to contest the footy, has braced and launched himself, not off the ground, but a forward thrust, straight into Isaac Rankin. And I reckon the concussions of how hard he hit the turf, and he stiffened up immediately, Isaac. And Travis Boak wasn't having any of it getting stuck into Matt Crouch, who was giving him some lip.
Well, the thing will happen here now, Aaron, is what was his intent? It was clearly wasn't to tackle or smother, or his intent
win the footy.
Yeah, he was just straight at the player, and then you've got the outcome. So that is going to be, that'll be 6 to 8 weeks for
Lock
sure.
it in. Isaac Rankin's done for the game. He can barely stand and has wobbled his way to the stretcher. So Adelaide will be down a man through concussion. Port Adelaide's about to lose one of its most pivotal cogs in the lead up to the final series, if not a significant portion of September. This is a massive story developing at the Adelaide Oval. The Crows are up by 6. Isaac Rankin is being driven off the ground to the jeers of the Power faithful. What does this mean, Josh?
Unbelievable. I'm actually speechless. You talk about volatile situations now. The next 4 or 5 minutes, the umpires will be just looking for anything where they can pay a free kick just to diffuse the tension between the two sides, and even the tension in the crowd. You can feel it up here in the commentary box.
Josh Money downstairs.
Well, Josh Franco just touched on an absolute lull in the crowd. Everyone a bit shell-shocked after that enormous hit. Zach Taylor, the Crows sub, about to come into the game. Obviously, we know Isaac Rankin. And as you mentioned, with Dan Houston looking very much at a move into state, this could very well be his last game for the Power.
So this is staggering here at the minute now. You got Jason Horne-Francis ended up with a football outside of 50.
Yep.
When Rankin has absolutely been poleaxed. So how does, what's the rationale?
There was no free kick paid against Houston, and Horne-Francis had possession of the ball.
That is absolutely staggering.
Jason Horne-Francis Pulls the kick. Dixon on the charge. Confident and strong. Floating back was Murray. Spills out. Quick kick towards goal. And it's missed through for a minor score. Zach Butters trying to wedge it through the traffic. So it will be Adelaide by 5 points. Time on third term. And you're right, Jamo. Just shell shock across the ground.
Anyone in your right mind?
Well, particularly with 4 umpires.
And you got the luxury of reviewing as well.
True.
So Keane plays on, sends it long to this broadcast side. Bergman takes a strong mark. Plays on for Port Adelaide. Hand pass outside to Rosie. Thumps the ball long. Over the back will come Murray. Thumps it towards the boundary line. And over in the right forward pocket. So who can settle quickest now?
Well, that's really important, Crossy, isn't it? Talk about Adelaide. They've lost one of their superstars in a sickening collision, but now they just need to get back to playing football and forget about all the off-field tough guy stuff. Just play the ball.
Doug Taylor on the boundary, ready to come in.
Ball comes back in. Off the pack, it was taken by Butters. Taken down in a tackle, holding the ball. So he's just about to shoot on goal, and Laird got him. And from deep inside 50, Laird will take the relieving free kick, hands it off to Worrell.
Worrell searching kick up the broadcast swing, rising up a Lear with the fist, knocked it down, bounced past Boak. Rioli there though, hands it to Dixon, then Boak again. Showdown 32 for him, rolling it towards the 50. Horne-Francis bowled over the ball by Dawson, picked up by Rosie, spun a 360, got it out of the Bond tackle. Rioli into the 50, slipped through Evans' grasp. Scholes down behind playing, holding free kick to the power. Francis Evans got in front of Nankervis and was brought down in the marking contest. Scholes popped back up, but has given Rioli some stick as well. It's happening everywhere.
Well, I'll tell you what, there was a couple of bits of play there from Rioli, which was just outstanding. Just a little tap on, I think it was to Dixon on centre wing here, and his composure with ball in hand there just didn't blaze away. And it's on behind play again.
Just brought down Rioli, so that'll be a 50, you'd think.
Yeah, we're going to get the runner out to these Crows, boys, and just settle down.
They're coming in again. It's heated out there.
Yeah.
As it should be. When Dan Houston takes out Isaac Rankin with a heavy shirt front.
What I will say, how good is it, though?
At the top of the goal square, smashes it through. His second of the night, Porter in front. And it's becoming less about the footy and more about who's composed in this cracking affair. 6:10:46 the power. Adelaide 6:9:45. Lockie Jones has been subbed out. Isaac Rankin's got a concussion. Dan Houston may have played his final game for the Port Adelaide Footy Club.
And this is the time going back to just settling the players down, where Jordan Dawson as captain, you've got to earn your money here, mate. You've got to get around to these players, getting Darcy Fogarty and Thilthorpe and say, pull your heads in, because you keep carrying on like that. The umpires are just dying to pay a free kick just to diffuse any sort of little volcanic eruptions which look like they're going to take place, and just play the footy. Otherwise, the scoreboard can get away from you pretty quickly.
Port Adelaide up by 1 point, just under 6 minutes remaining.
Till three-quarter time. We've still got another quarter to go. Back in the middle. Hand on the ball from Adelaide through Zach Taylor. He's sent it wide to the eastern side of the ground. Rosie picks it up from the scrimmage, gets it out. Horne-Francis at half forward, makes a tackle. Ball came out. Taylor again just clears it towards centre wing and sweep. Middle of the pack, took a nice mark, hands it off. Farrell on his left foot. He's 70 out. He goes bang, high, long, deep. Rioli at the back. He's got it. His hand pass inside is blocked by Worrell and over the boundary line.
Adelaide's defence has been good tonight, hasn't it? Very.
Well, it's on for young and old out there again.
Well, it's a quarter of two halves, isn't it? First half, the Port Adelaide defence was under immense pressure. Now it's Adelaide's turn.
Port by a point. Showdown 56 on ABC Sports. Sweet down, head over the footy. Narkle ran into his teammate. Drew in the wrong space. Keeps fighting. Got back to his feet. Up and under kick. Nankervis with the fist. Found Laird for the Crows, and Worrell hacks it out of there around the body. Zerk Thatcher edged under the ball, dropped by Fogarty, and a whistle against him.
Fogarty needs to come off for a spell.
He's hot.
Oh, get him off.
And emotional.
Yep.
He loves this sort of stuff too.
He
That's
does.
the unfortunate thing, isn't it?
Adelaide's unravelling after the loss of Rankin. Zerk Thatcher will square it up. Alear at true centre-half forward, hands it to Burton. The Burton bomb from 55. It's heading towards home, and getting there at the last gasp was O'Brien to knock it through for the minor score. Port by 2, still 4 to play in this third term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Your experts Rod Jamieson, Josh Franco.
So Worrell plays on from fullback for Adelaide, sends it to this broadcast side, smacked over the boundary line, and we'll get a throw in about 70 around from the goalface.
And it is a tough one because, as you said, Fogarty is a bit of a barometer for Adelaide. He's a tough sort of style of footballer, probably born in the wrong era, but he just needs to play the ball and forget about the tough guy stuff.
What about the last 10 minutes? 64% time in possession. Port Adelaide to only 9 Adelaide.
Port worked it to Bergman. Bergman kicks it long to the goalface again. Murray up high, knocked it away from Dixon, minus score, so extending the margin to 3 points in favour of Port Adelaide as we close in on three-quarter time. But it will be a long quarter, 28 and a half down.
4 minutes remaining, it's just locked in Port Adelaide's forward half.
Worrell to the broadcast wing, floating across Alear, brought it down, head over the footy, Curtin, shoveled a handball to Crouch, chained it with Laird and back to Curtin, up through centre wing, coming late, Burgoyne threw his body into the contest, shoots out to Thilthorpe, into the 50, one out was Keys, it didn't reach him, back with the fight, Boat dropped it in a rare error, and wrapping up Houston was Keys. We'll get a ball up, 40 out, slightly right of centre, attacking 50 for the Crows, who were down by 3.
12 to 10 inside 50s in favour of Port, so there's only 2 the difference, but it's just been up Port's end all time.
Ball thrown up, and because the umpires waited for the ruckman to arrive, so did the troops, and as a result, there wasn't a quick opportunity for either side then. Now it's been knocked wide off the pack to Dawson. Hand pass over the head wasn't great. Scholl got it in the end, just tumbled the ball inside 50, into that scoreboard pocket, and picked up by Curtin, who's immediately got Zirk Thatcher draped over him. Forces a ball up straight out in front, 20 metres. This time the umpire puts it in the air quickly.
Bergman there, couldn't control it, Wines could. Around the body, gets it out of defensive 50. On Francis late, over the shoulder, collects Nankervis. Free kick to the young backman. Too far out to score. Searches for an option.
Better kick.
Sets it up, top of the goal square. Alear stuck a knee into Thilthorpe at the back. O'Brien couldn't reel it in, and Houston jams it out of there. Finds Horn Francis to the praise of the Power faithful. To the outer side he goes. Butters hands it to Boak. Brushes past Hinge. Hands it back to Rosie. Then Butters, it's all the big hitters. Drew now forward of centre wing for the Power. They're up by 3 in front of the Bashir stand. Looking to go forward. Drew heading in the Dixon direction. Got some space on it. Murray couldn't control it. Then buffets past Laird. Ball ricocheting to Berry. Couldn't control it. Boat no-look handball. Back out to Butters on the boundary line. Now Rosie swings it into the 50. Rioli caught behind Bond. Diving in, slips catch. The young man's done very well.
That was amazing.
Hugh Bond in the right back pocket for the Crows.
And even Charlie Dixon, he's got his hands in. He's been in a lot of marking contests, aerial contests, but it just hasn't quite stuck in the big dukes this game for Charlie.
So Bond found Hinge, and then Hinge went back to Michael Annie. All inside defensive 50 for the Crows. Michael Annie now plays on, goes long on the eastern side. Big pack, centre of it. Riley O'Brien took it and lost it on the way down, but the umpire said it's a mark. In fact, Thilthorpe it was. O'Brien obviously was holding Thilthorpe up. So
coming of age.
Thilthorpe goes down the line with his kick, carries the pack. Drew's at the back, goes with his left foot from the boundary line. Back down the line, an easy mark there. Chest, as it turned out, for Laird, who had a teammate holding off a Port opponent. Inboard to Hinge, and then he goes way across the ground. Dangerous kick, looking for Nankervis. He's got Horn Francis with him, pats it out, gets a hand pass back. Well done, got it to Scholl. Scholl at the left foot, tries a hit up, not quite, can't bring it off. Yes, says the umpire, holding on. Gallant led up. The ball went away, and Zirk Thatcher ruled to have pulled him down. And so he'll have a shot at goal from 25 out, just to the left.
Well, it was a brave switch too, wasn't it? And Lockie Scholl and Nankervis, I thought they'd actually just fumbled it between themselves. The pressure from Port Adelaide was good, but Scholl, who is a player, not dissimilar to Jason Horne-Francis, he's a right footer, but very good on the left.
And that was a perfectly weighted kick, wasn't it? Zirk Thatcher had no opportunity whatsoever. Had to chop the arms and give away a free kick.
So Gallant comes in. Important kick this late in the quarter. And Gallant sprays it to the right and hits the right post. Halfway up. Adelaide with a minus score. The margin 2 points in favour of Port Adelaide. 6-12 plays 6-10.
I guess I'm even just thinking about missing Tex Walker and what calming influence he'd have on this group currently if he was playing.
Exiting kick to the broadcast wing. In the traffic, Mead rolls it through with a worm burner. Close to the boundary line. Rioli's late to it. Bond beats him and knocks it over. If you're just joining us, what a quarter.
Unbelievable.
Isaac Rankin, shirt fronted by Dan Houston. Huge clean-up. Stretcher job he's done for the night. Dan Houston probably done for the season and the footy club. And Port Adelaide have fired ever since. They're up by 2.
Big assumption.
Tossed in, sweet down, looking for Rosie. He's been very vocal. He's been looking for a Victorian club, Jamo. I reckon he'll find one. Free kick to Rosie out of the stoppage, and he'll run out of time as he sends Port inside 50. It's been happening everywhere. Spot fires ever since. An emotional showdown 56. So much to play for. The war of words in the build-up has translated into a hectic, aggressive affair on field, and it's culminated with a hit that'll be talked about throughout the week. And just as it looked like we were about to break up for three-quarter time, Boak has put down Berry, and it started again.
Houston.
Yeah, Berry, get out of there.
Yeah, Houston's just walked away.
Berry's got a few words to say, and Murphy will be the one that separates the two units as we close in on this final term. It's been stacked full of highlights, and we're nowhere near a finish. 2 points separating the two South Australian clubs. Port 6-12-48, Adelaide 6-10-46. The goal scorers for the Power, 2 to Evans, that's Francis and Horne-Francis, and singles to Boak and Burn-Jones. Meanwhile for the Crows, 2 to Rankin and Fogarty, singles to Rochelle and Thilthorpe. Great to have your company on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app for Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
G'day, this is Becky Cole inviting you to join me each week for Saturday Night Country. For more than 30 years, we've been playing the best in Australian country music, as well as the overseas artists that you know and love. So whether it's the classic tunes that you grew up with, the best new releases, or the interviews of your favourite acts, you'll find it all on Saturday Night Country. Saturday Night Country, hear it anytime on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Straight to Horne-Francis, and the don't argue on Hinge. He held on, and Anaconda just wouldn't let go. Mitch Hinge gets him. Hands it to Dixon. Burn-Jones is alone. 35 out. Heads for home. Porter back. Big double fist from King. Bang! Rankin's collected with a huge hip and shoulder, and he's down and out, and it is on.
This will explode.
That was a huge hit, and it has erupted at the Adelaide Oval. And at the top of the goal square, smashes it through. His second of the night. Porter in front.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
You couldn't have wrote a more jam-packed script in a blockbuster to decide the Battle of South Australia. Showdown 56 has had hits, it's had highlights. We've had players down, we've had melees, but ultimately 2 points separate Port Adelaide and Adelaide, with the Power leading heading into the final change. It's a grandstand finish coming your way on ABC Sport. Do not go anywhere. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross calling the action. Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson, 4-time Showdown medalist Josh Franco watching on. And meanwhile, there's another thriller happening across the border. Scores level to start the final term between Geelong and St Kilda, 70 points apiece. Whatever you want, the ABC Listen app is your home of footy. Jamo, Josh, unpack everything that happened in that third quarter if you can in the space of a couple of minutes. Where do you want to start?
I just want to give the umpires an absolute blast. You know, that is just an appalling outcome. For Isaac Rankin getting poleaxed like that, Dan Houston takes him out, and whatever the outcome it will be, but in their wildest dreams, how can you not say that was a free to Adelaide? And when play starts again, Jason Horne-Francis got the footy outside 50. I'm not an umpire. I know it's difficult, but I've been around footy long enough to say I reckon that was probably a free.
I think you're right.
Anyway,
yeah.
Port Adelaide, they really build up to that last quarter, and that last 10 minutes of play, 64% time in possession. That was just insane football, and Adelaide were able to repel and hang on and do what they would need to do. Unfortunately, they only had 4 behinds in that third quarter. 2 goals free for Port Adelaide. So, albeit it was 15-12 inside 50s Port Adelaide's way, I felt Port Adelaide probably missed out on another couple of goals. And then Adelaide's defence, again, standing firm, going the other way. Adelaide just didn't look like it. Probably a couple of occasions. Mitch Hinge maybe one, and that one late. Lockie Gallant, you'd probably say there's 2 goals that they should have or could have had, but a good quarter by Port Adelaide. So much so, Matty Nix went straight out. He called the group in. The other hand, Port Adelaide, they put their lines together. Ken Hinkley stood back.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I even thought probably the first 4 or 5 minutes of that third quarter, Adelaide, and I think even quarter was a really dangerous period for Port Adelaide in the early stages of that third quarter. Then they started to get a bit of control back, and I keep referring back to these KPIs which talk about work rate and mindset. So contested ball that quarter, Port Adelaide have flipped the tables. They were +9. The ground ball gets, they were +7. So in that phase of the game, they really started to get hold of Adelaide, and then they're able to start to get the repeat entries inside their forward 50 and create the scoring opportunities on top of that. But look, it's set up to be an absolute cracking last quarter. I thought at times after the Rankin hit, Fogarty was getting a little bit carried away and trying to be the tough guy instead of just playing footy, and that's what no doubt the message from Matthew Nix at 3/4 time would be, was just get back to your focus on the ball. We've still got a job to do. We've still got a quarter to play, and we've still got to get this game back on our terms.
A red-hot last quarter too, both sides. Port Adelaide playing for a top 3. Adelaide just hanging on there, the rivalry. They've won the last 3. Port Adelaide looking to change it. Go to that St Kilda Geelong game. St Kilda have kicked 7-goal-4 in that third quarter to 1-goal-1 to the Cats. That's a monster third quarter by the Saints.
Live Ladder has the power in second, ahead of the Giants and Geelong on percentage. A lot on the line. It's a cold night in Adelaide, but it's heating up in the kitchen.
Aaron, the other thing as well from Dan Houston's perspective is what is that hit doing for his mental state as well? So how much impact is he going to have on the game in this last quarter?
He only had 3 disposals in that third quarter.
Here we go. Strap yourselves in. Port by 2 in showdown 56. Bounce in the middle. Hard and low. O'Brien wins it down straight to Dawson. Fumbled. Wines wrenches it away. Drew gets the clearance for Port Adelaide. Bouncing towards the 50 wide of Dixon, who was wrapped up by Keane. Out to meet it was Murray, bowled over, and Laird's wrapped up by a couple. Ball up inside 50. 48 out for the power.
First set of clearance, Port Adelaide.
Sweet knocks it down from the ruck contest. It gets back to Laird. Tries to release a hand pass in the tackle. Bang! Another big tackle made by Saligo. Too high, said the umpire. Free kick to Butters.
This is still volatile, this game.
Still on around the ball. Crouch involved with Rosie. Just trading jumper punches at the moment.
Houston lurking.
Butters goes in with the kick, 25 out he was aiming for. At the back, there was Rioli, goal. Adelaide let it get over the back. And Rioli.
It's on out the front again.
Matt Crouches seem to be at the centre of every single scuffle at the moment.
It's Dixon and Keane, they're the ones. They're at it.
Meanwhile, score check.
Yeah, there's a game going on.
Port Adelaide 2 goals up. 7-12-54 plays Adelaide 6-10-46. So 8 points the margin, or 2 straight kicks to get in front for Adelaide in a game where the game high margin was 12 points in favour of Adelaide during that third quarter.
And Hugh Bond's been absolutely outstanding all night. And when you're standing these small gun, smart forwards of the competition, you just can't switch off for a second, and Rioli just capitalised on his opportunity, which he hasn't had many tonight.
Port by 8. Tossed up in the middle. Sweet down, looking for Butters. First to the footy. Beautiful handball, crisp to Houston. Now up towards the attacking edge. He skies it, back with the flight. Hinge couldn't control it. Flicked out by Laird. Hinge goes again, crashes into Sweet. Ball shoots out. Holding free kick going Hinge's way.
He's hurt too, I think.
Yeah. Went heavy and hard into the big man. Sweet brought him down. Free kick to the former Lion at centre half back.
Now he's tough.
Has to hand it off. Grimacing in agony, gives it to his skipper, and Dawson perfectly weighted to O'Brien, forward of centre wing. On the broadcast side, the ruckman lowers the eyes. Dangerous kick close to the boundary line. It was shallow. Gallant out to meet it, walks it over. Boundary throw in right half forward.
You giggle when you said that. I was ruckman, just kick it long. Yeah. Don't try to hit darts to forwards leading out. You just kick it long to the contest.
Just hit the dartboard, please. Yeah. Don't go for the 50.
Ball comes back in. And O'Brien and Sweet, who got the tap down, and Crouch was taken immediately. He got it, had to release the hand pass. Drew on the ground, got the hand pass up to Wines. High ball into the centre square, off Horn Francis. Then Laird was taken down as soon as he got it. Good luck getting out of these packs.
I'd also like to know how many times Port Adelaide have soccered the ball off the ground. There's a tactic coming into the game with the slippery conditions.
Well, champion data won't help you with that. No. I'm pretty sure they don't keep that one. It was kicked forward by Adelaide. Coming the other way, Horn Francis now over the head, hand pass off to Houston. Houston goes down with a scrubby kick towards half forward. Worrell comes in, picks it up with one hand, did well, bought himself some time, gave it to Laird, who bought some time as well, and he was good to get it short to Saligo.
Across defensive 50 rather, dangerous kick for Keane. Rioli exposing.
50.
Rioli called to stand and he ran away. Free kick to the Irishman. Straight up the corridor he goes, the man from County Cork.
Well, he knew the rule too, the Irishman.
Wants to go, and again, no one's on the mark. In the centre circle he goes, and charging across. Drew got a hand in with the smother, then tackles Saligo. It's a heavy spin, dumping him into the ground. Play continues. Keys is caught. Is it holding the ball, or was it an illegal tackle? Whistle has stayed away, and we're going to get a ball up. Make a decision. Port by 8.
Ball off the contest, and there'll be a holding one now. It'll go against Crouch, opposed to Horn Francis. So at the back end of the centre square for Port Adelaide, Horn Francis will have the free kick. Things have just not settled in the 10 or 15 minutes of play since that incident involving Houston and, of course, Isaac Rankin, who won't take any further part in the game. Long kick down to half forward. Galea off the pack, and then it's towed forward by Port Adelaide. It's in the goal square. Adelaide get a foot to the ball, and then right on the goal line, Burgoyne soccers it through. So another goal for Port Adelaide. They're the ones coming home hard on the emotion of what's happened, and Adelaide don't have an answer at this stage. Port Adelaide 8-12-60, Adelaide 6-10-46. On AFL on ABC Sport, your experts Josh Franco and Rod Jamieson.
Well, I was actually worried as to where Port Adelaide were going to get their goals from, but they're on 2 occasions now. Port Adelaide have tried to go to the line to rush it through, and it's got over the back, and Port Adelaide have stuck a couple of goals. Adelaide need to take control here at the moment too. Their 2 centre clearances have been by Port Adelaide. Butters, Rosie in the middle. Adelaide have just got to shut it down and take some of the control back.
It's threatening to push away here. Port by 14, showdown 56, final term. Sweet down, only found Dawson, another whistle bringing it back. And a free kick going the way of the Crows. They'll take the advantage as Dawson surges away from Rosie. Penetrating kick into the 50. Gallant up against Delia, boits the deck. Logan Evans threw his body in, got caught high accidentally. Gallant couldn't control it. Wines hits it out of there underneath, a wobbler towards the defensive arc. And an awkward bounce that goes 45 away from Hinge and over the line.
I didn't think he was going to call that. It was just a boot the ball, wasn't it, too? And I thought insufficient intent.
I reckon that's deliberate every day of the week.
He just kicked it out of the area.
Thoughts of 4-time showdown medalist Josh Franco, Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson. Port by 14 at the Docklands. The Saints lead the Cats by 5. O'Brien down, found Houston. Hip and shoulder as he gets his kick away. Couple of faint cheers from the few Crows in attendance. Was looking for Burn-Jones. Keys beat him to it. Handball errant. Drew becomes the tackler. Ball up to come in front of the Williams stand.
Terrific close and tackle there from Drew. Denying Adelaide time and space, crowding the ball up.
73-55 for the game. Tackles in favour of Port Adelaide.
Sligo from the ruck contest just got the ball 20 metres forward. It ends up going over the line out there in front of an adoring bay of Port Adelaide supporters.
What about this quarter, Crossy? We're only, what are we? A couple of minutes in, 8 minutes in, 12 tackles to 1. Port Adelaide's way.
Ball come back into play. O'Brien over the top, reaches. Rochelle couldn't get it. Houston got a hand pass out. Farrell couldn't take it. Now he barrels towards the line and Saligo helps him over. And we'll get a throw in out there on the eastern side. Left half forward for the Crows. Trailing by 14 points. Port Adelaide have put the gap in it.
Crowd in anticipation. They know another goal might just push it away far enough to lock in a victory. Sweet down. Was looking for Wines. Ricochets out. Wrapped up was Curtin, spills to the back, towed forward, Hinge battling with Rosie, Burgoyne in amongst it, got it away, Worrell on the race, had Burn-Jones on the hunt, pounces with the tackle, wrapped him up, ball up to come close to the boundary line, still on the outer side.
Another terrific tackle there from Burn-Jones and Port Adelaide. Once again, just the closing speed, denying them time and space, outstanding.
Out of the ruck contest, Sweet just got the ball and kicked it forward. In front that time was the Irishman for Adelaide and Keane, and then he goes back towards Worrell. He's called a play on. Worrell drops it over the top. Wasn't great. Half volleyed nicely by Berry though. So they've swapped sides, come to this broadcast side looking for Scholl. He couldn't take the mark. It's come out and then picking it up was Boak and smashed by a tackle from Bond over the line. So you can hear that in the background. The crowd above 50,000, 52,459. A lot of them Port supporters.
Tossed into play, the power by 14. O'Brien down, looking for Keys. Couldn't control it. Sweet can. Handball smothered by Saligo, so he just volleys it out of there. Bouncing towards the 50. Rioli knocked it to Narkle. Towed it centrally. It's rolling in the path of Dixon. Clean gather from the big man. Handed it to Burn-Jones, and he's smacked too high. Came out collected. They come in again for a war of words and a couple of jumper tugs, but all that matters is a set shot is incoming for Port Adelaide and Darcy Burn-Jones.
And the real concern for Adelaide at the moment, and you mentioned it, Gemmo, the tackle count 15-4 this quarter, contested possession 17-10. The ground ball gets 12-7, all in Port Adelaide's favour. The inside 50s 4-7. They're absolutely dominating the Crows at the moment. I reckon Adelaide have just lost the plot a little bit. A lot, actually.
It's all about what happens in the arena, but the way this is going, I actually have some concerns post-game.
Yeah, actually, that's a fair shout. You're talking crowd and... Yep.
Darcy Burn-Jones starts from 50, composed approach, slots his second, and the Adelaide Oval erupts with elation. Port Adelaide's starting to press, up by 20, and it's on again. This time Butters put down, Keane comes in late, umpires converge, and we may be about to see another set shot here.
Oh, it was actually a soft by both of them too. Butters was the one that was yapping to Max Michaelani. So he's every chance to what? He's going to receive another free.
Yeah, this will ice the game.
The umpires have absolutely been sucked in here. Totally been sucked in.
Butters has been put down after the goal and will be gifted a set shot to put Port up by 4 majors.
That's the way. Go and influence the game.
And what has been an unbelievable affair at the Coliseum has unravelled incredibly fast.
What I'd also do, Aaron, here is I'd be sending the runner out if I'm Matthew Nixon, say, if it goes through for a goal, just walk away from it. Because the umpires are dying, as you said, to pay a free kick to diffuse the tension.
They're actually adding to it.
Yeah, fair call.
Butters, important pivotal kick. It's too shallow and wide. Sits up in front of the scoreboard. Worrell down to Hinge. Rolls it, trying to exit defensive 50. It carries to the boundary line. What will the decision be? Boundary throw in to ease the tension. Port by 20. 9-12-66 plays 6-10-46. Showdown 56 on ABC Sport.
Well, it's obvious the Crows are off their game. Can they restore some pride? Butters comes through, can't get a clean disposal away. Hinge had it, then Thilthorpe gave it to Berry. Berry went back to Saligo, all of this by hand, and then finally Crouch receives and goes long towards centre wing. Lear couldn't take it. Keys came through. Found some space where there was none. Outside he went to Hinge. Hinge goes through half forward with his kick, going back with a flight Rochelle. And Farrell got a hand in there and knocked it over the boundary line. And Rochelle has several Port players, including Alir trying to bump him just to remind him what he's doing out there.
They haven't got a leg to stand on the power. They're going to lose down Houston for the season, you'd imagine. Tossed in. Sweet down, only found Berry. Quick kick forward, slipped through the hands of Bergman on the Chargers. Keys edged out of it. Burton clears with a rolling footy. Scholes waiting to meet it, right half forward. Snaps it straight back in. High, curling. Murphy Rose knocked away by Alir. And it rolls over the boundary line. 25 out. Riverbank stand end. Port by 20 in front of the third biggest crowd in showdown history.
Just under 13 minutes remaining. Locked inside Adelaide's 50. Port Adelaide 5 inside 50s to Adelaide 2.
Thilthorpe off the ruck contest. Took them all on. Got a kick away. Burgoyne stood under it, took the mark. Umpire said it wasn't 15, but he's going to get a high tackle.
That was there too, Crossy. Again, just lacking composure. I don't know who it was. Oh, Fogarty. Fogarty again, just lacking composure.
No, it was actually Keys.
Oh, Keys, you're right.
Keys came in, so from right on the last line of defence, Burgoyne clears to this broadcast side.
Sits up, defensive edge of the square for the power. Knocked down Dixon, clean, one-hand gather. Gives it to Wines. Mead tried to go through the corridor. Good smother from Worrell. Here comes the counter-punch. Saligo, the Keys for a heartbeat. Rolls it from 30. Ben Keys on the board, and we're not done yet. Port by 14, still 12 to play. 9-12-66. The Crows 7-10-52. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Your experts Rod Jamieson and Josh Franco.
Oh, well done, Josh Worrell. He was the one. At Port Adelaide had the football. And haven't they missed him in defence too? He's been back a couple of weeks from a broken arm. Just a lot of this year's football, but a tremendous smother. Saligo wins the bouncing ball. And a snap over the right shoulder by Keys. Always dangerous around goals.
And you're right, Aaron, it's not done yet. There's still plenty of footy left in this game.
Adelaide's first goal since the 31-minute mark of the second term. Since then, Port Adelaide have managed to kick 5 goals. Out of the middle, Butters kicks it down to centre half forward for Port Adelaide. And the mark taken there by Dawson.
Sitting behind the football now.
Dawson goes out wide to the logo on centre wing on the eastern side. Laird hands it off to Michael Annie. Michael Annie's kick deep inside 50. Dixon was there, falls to the back. Rochelle just scrubbed the kick as he tried to go around the corner. And Keys makes a tackle, coming in and putting down Zirk Thatcher. 25 out, straight in front of the big ones for Adelaide. And they are trailing at the moment by 14 points.
Tossed up, neither ruck got a clean tap. Head over at Fogarty, fell into the footy, has to get it out. Little bit of tunnel ball. Head over at Taylor, couldn't control. Keys, diving handball, only found Mead. And he gets it out of there with a quick kick. Has to stay in. Teammates have to get there. In the end, Keane knocks it over to ensure it will be a boundary throw-in.
Just gained a bit of composure, Adelaide, haven't they, the last 4 or 5 minutes, Jamo? They evened up the contested ball. The ground ball gets starting to get back to their style.
Time on in the fourth at the Docklands, and the Saints are up by 3 goals over Geelong.
Incredible.
The top 4 contenders are in trouble. Tossed in, sweet down to Rosie, quick clearance. juggling Radonaya against Keane. Neither could control it. And Drew's wrapped up by his opposing 28 in Murray. And we'll get a ball up. Left half forward for the Power. They're up by 14.
Always got my heart in my mouth when Keane goes through it. He goes through a mark almost every time.
Off the rock contest, there was holding on Laird. The umpire let it go. Boak tried to get through. Now it's back to Butters. Inside 50 with his kick. Rioli tries to fly high. Couldn't find somebody to lift him up. Dawson off the pack. Over to Michaelani. Tries to clear it. Boak with a half volley. Gave the head pass off to Mead. To goal he goes. It's high. It's right to the line. And coming across Dawson, taking the mark. And that'll be 50 as well. Rioli was standing right in front of him, was told by the umpire a couple of times to come back, and he didn't. I think he knew what he was doing. He was trying to delay. Now Dawson.
Good opportunity here.
Oh,
huge kick to the eastern side. Hinge slipped. Burgoyne got it for Port Adelaide. Back to half forward, looking for Boak. From behind comes Dawson, trying to inspire his side. The hand pass, though, was a turnover.
Errors costing the Crows right now. Burne-Jones around the body, bouncing towards the 50. Bond out to meet it. They've got the numbers. Knocks it to Michaelani. Back up the outer wing he goes. Port by 14. Crows on the attack. Bergman couldn't control it uncontested, but it ricochets to Burne-Jones. Now Burn to Butters, closing. Curtin pushed him as he kicked it. And it'll come back for a free kick in front of the Odie stands. He's lucky it wasn't downfield, to be honest, Dan Curtin.
I'll tell you what Port Adelaide are doing. They have set up really well. They're actually winning the contest, getting it out, the set up around it, and winning the football.
Butters' kick was poor. Shallow of Francis Evans and only found Marcolani on the bounce. Laird now hands it to Hinge. Another fumble. Barry left it behind. Crunching tackle, though. Making amends. Dan Curtin, and they want to take the advantage. Nankervis picks it up, wobbles it through the outer side. Fist comes front and square to Hinge. Did he get a handball out to Laird? Matt Stevic says no. Holding the ball, free kick Port Adelaide, true centre wing on the outer side. They're up by 14.
Tackle count this quarter too, fellas. 19-8 Port Adelaide's way.
Farrell will take some time and take some time off the clock. Just wide for Bergman, who chips it over the top to Burgoyne. Burgoyne in turn goes inside. Rosie with the mark ahead of Fogarty, who was tempted to run through him and decided, no, better not.
25-23, free kicks in favour of Adelaide.
So Rosie inside 50, huge pack, comes to Berry, tries to get it away, come off the legs of Laird. Burgoyne gave the hand pass to Butters from the pocket, sends it out on the full in that scoreboard pocket. Rosie wanted a free kick, or rather Butters wanted a free kick for that too. He was tackled as he was kicking the ball.
Port by 14. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Aaron Bryans, Neil Cross, Josh Franco, Rod Jamison, Josh Money with you. It's been great to have your company across a seesawing night, jam-packed full of storylines and highlights. We'll be with you all the way through till 11 Eastern rather, so a lot to unpack as Dan Curtin launches it out of defensive 50. Dixon tried to clunk it, slipped through his mitts. At the back, Taylor hands it to Thilthorpe. High ball up to left half forward, back with the putt. Tracking was Aaliyah, couldn't reel it in. Keys, low handball, tried to link up the 1-2 with Taylor. He towed it into the 50. Here's Rochelle. This is his stage. One-on-one, trying to get it out. Bergman came in, did well for the Power. Found Aaliyah, looked to exit. Is that a dangerous kick? Sliding in, Taylor tried to pick it up. Aaliyah towed it to the boundary line, and in the end, it's going to be tossed in front of the Rashudo stand.
Big ball there from Aaliyah, wasn't it? He was running it at absolute top speed, couldn't quite take the mark and almost paid the price.
Dixon out of the ruck contest, knocked it forward. Dawson picked it up, quick to boot. Inside 50, ball floats over the back. Boak was there, accidentally made contact with the ball. He was trying to pick it up, and in the end he managed to get it over the boundary line in the right forward pocket for the Crows.
Going early, Jammo. I reckon it's game over at the Docklands. The Saints by 4 goals, 25-minute mark.
What an amazing second half by the Saints.
Gives Brisbane a lifeline in the top 4 hunt.
That's your footy tips going this weekend again.
Tossed in, Adelaide's 50, down 14. O'Brien taps it down as Dixon falls forward, trying to get a free. Towed out of there by the Power. Murray bowled over, picked up by Bond. The check side looking for his golden eye. Hugh Bond Thilthorpe couldn't control it. Zerk Thatcher rolls one to the back pocket. Burgoyne there, knocked it to Burton. Here come the power on the rebound. Boak searching for Francis Evans. Dawson got a hand in but slipped over. Francis Evans kept his feet. They've got the overlap on the charge. It's Rioli. He put it in his path. He gathers, rolls it from 45. Will he get the cone bounce? No. Hearts in mouths. Port by 15, 7 to play. Showdown 56 on ABC Sport.
Dangerous kick in two. Adelaide still have hold of the footy.
Michael Annie with a bounce, comes out of defensive 50. Looks down the line, Fogarty got the ball to ground, but Zerk Thatcher picked it up. Great tackle on him. Brilliantly done.
And 50 has to be.
Oh, brilliantly done by Curtin. Wasn't 50.
That had to be.
So Curtin goes down to half forward with a kick. It was punched wide off the hands of Farrell, straight to Saligo, but Farrell was able to pressure Saligo's kick, and he sprayed it out of bounds in the full in the right forward pocket for Adelaide.
The reason we're saying it had to be 50 was at Houston that the whistle blew, he had it, handballed it to his teammate.
Adelaide teammate. And it should have gone the other way.
Yeah.
They've pinged players for worse.
Yeah.
Caught with the footy up by 15. Alir out of defensive 50. And strong from Worrell. Radonalea went down due to a shove.
Oh, the other umpires.
And the body
now
workers
called it.
pinged the Crows. They've gone inside 50. And we haven't seen a flip of the script. It won't be a 50-metre penalty. So the footy will come to Radonalea, defensive edge, broadcast side. And maybe things will just start to slow down a little bit. We've got 6.5 to play.
No chance, Aaron.
3-goal game. It's fiery, it's heated. We'll have suspensions, concussions.
I'm tied in my left hamstring after walking the dog earlier today too.
Radonalea down the broadcast wing. Players converge. Crows have the numbers at the 4 of the footy. Nankervis up in front of the benches, sliding in Murphy. He's had a decent night. Plenty of possessions.
Oh.
This will be 16. It's treacherous down the line. Fogarty was caught behind. And Zerk Thatcher did very well to cut it off. Bit proppy for his efforts.
Not the right option then, was it?
I reckon he had Worrell in the middle of the ground too, which was a risky kick, but potentially was on. And yeah, you're right, the wrong option.
Zerk Thatcher content to hold the ball and then go down the line. Big pack forms on centre wing, and the umpire comes in to separate the players. At the bottom, Burne-Jones.
There's a clear indication there. Crossy, 3 Port Adelaide players just jump on an Adelaide player.
Comes off to Laird, got a kick of sorts away. Saligo bumbled in over the top, almost a free kick to Farrell. Now it spurts out the back. Rosie got 20 metres with his kick. Narkle picked it up, gave it off to Butters. Butters with a forward hand pass, finds Burne-Jones, chips the ball for Rioli. Lead up mark, 40 out, just to the right.
That was really good play, wasn't it, from Port Adelaide there. Narkle really clean below his knees with that ground ball, and Butters, great composure with the footy. Had Horn Francis flanking him, looking for the handball receive, chose not to use him, gave the forward handball to Burne-Jones, and that was a really clever kick.
The Port Adelaide kicked their 3rd lowest winning score in their history, 53 points last week to beat Melbourne. They'll kick a few more tonight. And Rioli has his 2nd. And they'll celebrate a big victory. Port Adelaide 10-13, 73. Adelaide 7-10, 52. It's a 21-point margin. And we're well into time on in the final quarter.
Just 4 goals in this quarter, 10 inside 50, so pretty much going at 50% when they go forward. But you touched on it, Josh, too, just how clean the ball squirted out on a couple of occasions, and Burgoyne was just so clean down below. Burne-Jones, actually I don't mind, he's actually been pretty good up forward, hasn't he, too?
Yeah.
Just a really smart lead-out footy. Rather, he had the right to actually have a shot on goal, well within his rights and his distance, but just went the more efficient option, and Willie Rioli's kicked 2 goals, 2-goal 1 in this last quarter.
Port by 21. Butters has 40 touches for the night. Career best 41 last year. Bounce in the middle as the crowd finds its voice. Sweet down, only found Saligo. Paddled up by O'Brien to Laird. Now Crouch. Clearance to Adelaide. Around the body looking for Gallant. Knocked away by Bergman. Farrell tries to get out of there. He's caught by Rochelle. Ball up, 60 out. Adelaide on the approach. Heading to the right-hand side of your radio dial and down 21. Sweet with the big fist. Knocking it towards the boundary line on the outer wing. And it will slowly roll over in front of the Williams stand. They'll be tossed back into play. Meanwhile, at the Docklands, St Kilda lead Geelong by 24 at the 31-minute mark. The Cats are about to let one slip. And their top four hopes in a bit of jeopardy with Brisbane right behind them.
Ball comes back into play. Wines clears it away down to centre wing. It came off Narkle. Burne-Jones picked it up, went to the boundary line with his kick, and the umpire says that's insufficient intent. Worrell will take the free kick for Adelaide. Still the Port fans boo. Inside he goes to Nankervis, and Narkle's over the top of him. And the umpire says, give it to me.
They've done that 3 or 4 times tonight, Adelaide. They've actually made the game harder. Just tried to hang on to it, just a little too long. Again, the tackling has been outstanding by Port Adelaide, 23-14 in this last quarter alone.
Certainly reversed what happened in the first half. Inside 50 goes a kick from Bergman, and there was Nankervis takes it away.
Want to be good.
Right across the goals he goes, looks for Bond, through his hands. Boak picked it up, faked as he went to the boundary line, left foot high. Maybe it went to regulation 15, maybe not. Comes down, Rioli, no look hand pass inside. Burton picked it up, Adelaide turned it over.
Port by 21, Adelaide need a miracle here. Up the broadcast wing, searching kick for Fogarty, didn't sit up for him. And knocked away by Zerk Thatcher in front of the benches. 52,459 in attendance. Now they've got their money's worth for this heavyweight clash for the South Australian crown, but there's plenty of fallout to come across the week. Tossed in, O'Brien down, Crouch head over it, slapped it behind, retreating for the Crows. He's trying to get it out to Saligo, but he's set upon by a couple. Quick ball up from Ray Chamberlain. Sweet down again, straight to Saligo. He's bowled over with a big hit. Got a kick away. Fogarty couldn't control it, but gets it back from Taylor. Hands it to Hinge. Up the corridor, empty goal square. This would be a monster 80-metre bomb from the centre square. That is unbelievable from Mitch Hinge, who has pulled the trigger on a rocket to give the Crows a lifeline. 15 points the margin once again. 8-10-58 to the power, 10-13-73. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, you wouldn't think there'd be enough time. Well, there's enough time. We're just under 3 minutes. 9 inside 50s for the 2 goals. But the way they've played, Port Adelaide will want to probably shut the game down. Adelaide will want to open it up. So Port Adelaide is inevitable. They could kick another 1 or 2 if Adelaide just want to just open it up and have a crack and be really offensive.
Well, and even this centre bounce now, Jamo, is just critically important for Adelaide. They've got to score from here to give themselves a chance.
Ray Chamberlain says, no centre bounce, I'll just throw it up. Fresh air shot at the ball on the ground came from Berry, picked up by Horne-Francis, turned it over, blindsided by the tackler. Adelaide work at the Hinge, then to Berry, back inside to Hinge, long hand pass. Nankervis taps it on, looking for Michael Annie. Off the ground, just a little forward toe poke near the 50. It's come back to Michael Annie again. Still he went forward. Rochelle lays a tackle on Sweet, and we'll get a ball up just on the 50 for Adelaide. No time to waste if they're going to make a fling at this.
Well, you can imagine Port Adelaide will put a spare behind the ball now. Can't see a +1.
Yep,
well,
they've got a +1.
It's Houston at the moment, but I think they've still got their 6 defenders. You think a Radagalia or someone like that would go behind the ball just to snuff it out for Port Adelaide.
Tossed up outside 50 for the Crows. O'Brien down Hinge, hacks it inside. A wobbler left forward pocket. Bounces favourably for Thilthorpe. Couldn't reel it in as the boundary line closed. It'll be tossed in 5 out. Riverbank stand end. Port by 15. Rankin out with a concussion. Huge hip and shoulder from Dan Houston, which will face major ramifications. The biggest talking point of the night. Lockie Jones also out. Toss back in, O'Brien down, found Rochelle, his stage, caught in the tackle, just dinked it 2 metres, found Berry, back to Curtin, wheeling away from trouble, hacked it around the body, just rushed it in a panic. Only finds Wines in the right back pocket.
Adelaide have to find one here as well. They can't get into a kick mark and take time off the clock, force them long down the line, which they have.
Wines sends it high. Dixon just got up and tapped it over his head. He knew where he wanted it to go, anywhere near the boundary, and as it turns out, it's now taken over the boundary. Keane for Adelaide, I think the last man to touch it, but the ball will come in over there on the eastern side.
Looking now, Radagale's been instructed by Travis Boak to go a +1 behind the ball, and looked like his direct opponent and Keane's going with him.
Head to head, this will be 56. It's going to go 28 all. It's just staggering.
That's the showdown count. Off hands to Wines, just boots the ball forward. Rioli's drifted up and got a possession, gave it off to Dixon. Dixon wobbles a left footer towards the goals. Through for the minus score. Was never going to come back far enough. So minus score makes it a 16-point game in favour of the Power. 32.5 minutes down.
Adelaide had to go. Jordan Dawson knew it. Smashed it out of defensive 50 and only found Butters. Disposal 41 shared with Horn Francis at right half forward. They'll milk the clock down here, the Power. The top two spot nearly cemented. A road game against Fremantle next week, but only the Giants can trouble them from here. Listen to the noise at the Adelaide Oval. They'll be scrutinised all week, but the Port fans don't care. They'll walk away with the win into the 50, rising Burgoyne front square. Butters to cap off an extraordinary night. 42 touches and a goal to his name. Zach Butters with the cherry on top, and it is on again. These two sides have been hot and heavy all night. Send your match fee straight to the MRO. Port by 22 points now. 11-14-80 to 8-10-50.
Get out of there.
Yeah, Phil Thorpe put Jason Horn-Francis at it. They're going back for more. It's going to
explode again.
They're going to go back for more. Just blow the siren. Get them both off.
I agree. And you'd almost imagine once the siren goes, one bit of lip, it'll just explode again.
Yeah.
And there'll be plenty of that in about 21 seconds.
Charlie Dixon's done nothing all night, but he's shooting his trap off.
Well, he was into Worrell, and he just wanted a piece of him, and Keane was trying to just put himself between Charlie Dixon and Worrell.
Port Adelaide have only got 5 forwards at the moment, and I reckon they got 7 defenders.
Yeah. Call it out.
Pretty sure they had a warning earlier as well.
Yeah, they did. Yep. They'll get the free kick here, Adelaide.
They've missed it?
It's just a warning.
I reckon they've already had it.
And they'll throw it up.
Righto, one.
Have it a mare tonight.
So the ball's been thrown up in the middle. Adelaide take it away. Curtin barrels the ball inside 50. And a great defensive mark taken by Bergman. And that'll just about see out the game, I think. Bergman knows to take his time. Gets the indications from the bench. What a battle. Port Adelaide hold on to second on the ladder. And they steam past Adelaide in the end in an absolutely controversial showdown, 56. Port Adelaide 11-14-80. Adelaide 8-10-58.
absolute arm wrestle that lived up to the theatre. Adelaide by 2 at quarter time and 9 at the half before we had one of the most contentious second halves of footy in showdown history. Port led by 2 at 3-quarter time and ultimately winners by 22. 2 goals to Burne-Jones, Evans, Horne-Francis and Rioli. Singles to Boak, Butters and Burgoyne. Move off for the Crows. 2 to Fogarty and Rankin. Singles to Hinge, Rochelle, Thilthorpe and Keys. The Power claims the South Australian crown, but at what cost? Their September surge is about to be overshadowed by one of the biggest hits in showdown history. There is so much to unpack, and we've got 40 minutes with you to do it. The text line 0437 774 774. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. We've got a showdown medal to give away after all that as well. The thoughts of Rod Jamieson and Josh Franco to unpack what was an eventful showdown 56.
Yeah, look, well, credit to Port Adelaide in the end. They kicked 7-5 to Adelaide's 2-goal 4 in that second half of footy. So that's where the game was won. It was tight up until half-time. Adelaide were up by 9 points. Port Adelaide took the lead in the third quarter by 2, and then eventually kicking out 5-2. Adelaide had to open up the game to try and win it, and Port Adelaide were too good. But their tackling was just immense in that last quarter, wasn't it, too? And that really, the pressure that they applied on Adelaide, they were cleaner in the end. And then, of course, I guess just the anguish side or the mental side of the game in that second half, it just exploded. And that'll be the talk out of this particular game. One, Port Adelaide, yes, they consolidate their spot, I think, on second. Aaron, are we right at the moment?
Yep, so they'll be tied with the Giants ahead on percentage. So still can fall out of the top 2, but they're locked into the 4 from here.
Yeah, so again, a great win by Port Adelaide to be able to do that. They've turned the 56 showdown, 28 apiece, and the rivalry just continues on.
Well, I always thought that the turning point in the game, I know we spoke about it at half-time, that it's going to go right down to the wire, but it was almost that turning point, the Rankin incident, wasn't it? And I must admit, I didn't think Adelaide really coped with that very well. Fogarty got it really sidetracked and distracted by it and was doing some undisciplined stuff. Thilthorpe was getting involved and they just lost their focus, the Crows. And Port Adelaide, I guess to their credit, cashed in on that, were able to hit the scoreboard and get their noses in front and run out eventual victors by 22 points. So they'd be pretty happy with their performance tonight, Port Adelaide, considering where they were probably 6 or 7 weeks ago with all the questions around Ken Hinkley and what's going to happen post-2024. But now they're sitting, as you said, in the top 2 and really comfortable heading into finals, albeit they'll be minus 1 Dan Houston.
So they've won 7 of their last 8 games, Port Adelaide, and this felt like almost the final hurdle. Fremantle on the road is going to be a tricky task, but the Crows have had their number the last few iterations of the showdown, and it was a monkey on their back they couldn't really get off, and finally they've overcome it, but in the most controversial of circumstances that unfortunately will be the talking point throughout the week. Dan Houston with a heavy shirt front, hip and shoulder, collected Isaac Rankin, wasn't contesting the ball, had to be stretchered off. It's a flat way for Adelaide to end their season to lose a star player like that. It's going to cost Isaac Rankin any chance of being in the All-Australian discussion. He was already on the edge due to his hamstring injury and suspension, but this will be enough now. He won't make it. And for Adelaide, who already are missing out on finals, to lose a senior player like that and not be able to retaliate or respond, it's a hard way to wrap up your year.
It is. Absolutely, it is.
There was a bit of stunned silence in the aftermath, and until Port Adelaide really locked in the victory, it felt like the crowd was on a knife's edge as well. Just a bit of a stunned shock. Let's head downstairs for the post-game ceremony with Jared Walsh.
Industry experts, I would now like to invite Leilani, who is a Variety Grant child, to present the Showdown Medal, awarded to the best player on the field. And the winner of the Showdown Medal from the Port Adelaide Football Club, Zach Butters.
A career high, 42 touches, 20 of them contested, 10 clearances, 13 ground ball gets, 5 inside 50s, and a goal to cap it off. Josh Franco, you were part of the voting process. Did you have Zach?
I did. It was a pretty easy choice for the 3 votes today. He was outstanding, and right from the get-go. Started the game superbly and finished
really
it well.
Really honoured to win this, and thanks to Variety for putting on such a great night, and to the crowd, Port supporters and Crows supporters. It's always a great spectacle, and thanks to the Crows, it's always a great contest, and you make it really hard for us. So credit to you guys, and good luck for the remaining of the season. And yeah, thanks to the Port supporters. Really showed out tonight, and we all appreciate it. Thank you.
Well spoken by Zach Butters, who was in the middle of a large majority of the melees tonight.
Sally Pake to present the Variety Showdown Shield to the captain of the Port Adelaide Football Club, Connor Rosie.
I was just looking at Zach Butters. He's only 181 centimetres, but he's got a big mouth for a little guy.
It's already started.
Oh, he was in everything, but that's one of the better games. I think he got better, particularly as the game went on.
The Crows is always an amazing contest, always a tough fight. Thanks to everyone for coming out. Unbelievable crowd for a bit of a wet and windy night. So, yeah, thanks as usual. Thanks, guys.
Connor Rosie, a prolific night as well. 28 touches alongside his partner in crime in Zach Butters.
Once again, the winners of Showdown 56, the Port Adelaide Football Club.
In front of 52,459. The ledger is squared once again for Showdown victories. Josh Money will be standing by in the rooms for all the fallout to get some reaction. We'll stay with you for the next 34 minutes and wrap things up here in the ABC Sport Box.
Just thinking about Dan Houston. So Port Adelaide have got last game next week. Let's say hypothetically they get into the grand final. What's the maximum number of
Let's say they finish top 2, right?
4.
So if they go round 24, qualifying final, prelim final, grand final, he's done. He's not playing any of those.
I was just looking, Jimmy Webster, what was that earlier
that was 6 weeks, pre-season.
It's got all of that all over it, if not more.
In which case, we don't have to worry about how many finals they play. He's done.
Yeah, I would think he's unfortunately got... look, he's been... I'm not suggesting he is going, but he's been such a good player. He's a dominant player for Port Adelaide. His run, his rebound, his ability to kick goals deep from far out, but that'll be a monster loss.
We had Josh Carr on SA Grandstand this morning and was trying to allude to the fact that the last few finals campaigns haven't been the best of builds. Jack Rewalt says it best, it's about timing a run, and alludes to Richmond 2018 when they fell short, that they peaked too early, and Sydney have to an extent this year. Port Adelaide, meanwhile, have timed their run, 7 of the last 8 in the build-up to finals. Last year they were walking wounded, injury-riddled, and then they get to this final hurdle. Dan Houston won't be there. Mitch Georgiadis and Todd Marshall out of the side injured, and suddenly it's starting to feel like history repeating, and maybe they're setting themselves up for disaster come finals again.
Well, even Lockie Jones, I reckon there's question marks. I know the word coming out of Port Adelaide was an Achilles soreness, but it would have to be a concern going off doing a concussion test. I'm assuming that's what he did when he went down into the rooms. That would have to be a concern as well. So, yeah, interesting times ahead. And I guess the only thing with a Dan Houston is that at least you could probably be pretty safe that you put him to bed.
Yeah.
You don't have to
find a solution immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, almost tonight. We've got a plan for the rest of the year without him, but there are concerns over those other players that you mentioned.
It'll hang over his head for a week, though, because, it'll hang over his head for a long time, but, of course, what we will get is the match review. The match review will send him almost certainly to the tribunal. The tribunal won't be held on Monday. It'll be Tuesday at least. And we go through that process before we get a result. So it's middle of the week that it's going to hang around till.
Well, I think it'll depend on... Well, he's not going to go in and say not guilty to the charges that you're actually going to throw at me either too, would it? So you would think the result might be Tuesday as opposed to prolonged?
Well, the result... they'll send him to the tribunal.
Yep.
He can't plead... He can't take an early plea or anything
It'll
like
go
that.
straight there.
Yep.
It'll go straight to the tribunal, which
with
generally...
a number of games?
Generally, it'll be 4+.
Yep.
That's the mark that it goes to the tribunal with, 4+. Given the incident, let's say he throws himself on the mercy of the tribunal, that might be, that's just a matter of then arguing the severity of what they think it's worth.
So who was the saint? Was it Webster?
Yeah.
Yep.
So what did he get? 6.
I reckon it was 6.
And did he hit Simkin? Was it Jai Simkin?
Yeah, I think it was too, like on the boundary.
Yeah,
like
so was Simkin stretch it off as well?
I can't recall
I
whether
can't
he was
remember
or
either.
not, actually.
I'm just thinking in terms of the look of it as well, getting stretched off, going stiff. It's just...
And that's the nasty one, isn't it? When you actually see a concussion, like the arms almost sort of go out straight away, and it's a terrible look. But again, it used to be the outcome, but now it's the intent. Like, he had no other purpose other than to hip and shoulder. So he's hip and shouldered, and then you've got the outcome, which then is concussed, and then the look of it, and it
was 7 weeks for Jimmy Webster.
Wow. It's going to be... this will be ugly.
The only difference is
6 to 10.
The Jimmy Webster one, he lifted off the ground. He did jump into it. I don't think Dan Houston did that, but he certainly drove in and wasn't contesting the footy.
And I guess the interesting thing about Dan Houston, he just doesn't have a history of it.
Yeah.
He's almost say he's one of the fairest players in the Port Adelaide lineup, just in terms of the way he plays the game. And not that matters, obviously, in the outcome of his suspension. But yeah, wow.
I don't know how many times he touched the ball after that either.
Not a lot.
Well, let's have a look here. So in the third quarter, he only touched it on 3 occasions. And then in the last quarter, he had it 4 times. So he's had 7 in the second half, all up. He had 18, so he had 11 in the first half and 7 in the second half. But, well, then just whatever happened in the spot fires then on after. Like, I mean, the rivalry between these two clubs is almost something every year, isn't it?
There's another chapter.
It is.
If not more.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering, a bit of noise in the background, that Port Adelaide, the team gathering as a whole behind the goals at the River Torrens end of the ground. There was photos, etc. And so they haven't made their way off the ground and down the race into the rooms yet. We will be taking you down there eventually. They've got a little bit to celebrate in tonight. And as Aaron said, they can't miss the top 4 now. Is that right, Aaron?
They're locked in now.
They're locked in now.
Yeah. Brisbane's loss earlier today essentially bridged the gap.
So they're heading down now into the rooms.
Yep. So Port will finish in the top 4. And Port now, making their way down the race. So let's check in with Josh Money for the fallout. Port winners by 22 in Showdown 56.
Here they come at long last. Connor Rosie holding the Showdown shield, something he hasn't yet been able to do as captain. Of course, had a Showdown to forget earlier in the year, but comes in with a big smile on his face, and the Port Adelaide players in their traditional prison bars Guernsey are up and about, locking in a spot in the top 4. They may even be in a position when they can rest players if results go their way and lock in a spot in the top 2 next week. Showdown 56, one of the more memorable in recent times, and there's storylines that we're going to hear about throughout the week. But for now, the players get to taste success in a showdown which has been pretty rare over the last 3 years. They were 1 of the last 5 coming into this.